The Kanye news had me a little shooketh. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Welcome in. Welcome in. We got a lot to talk about. Today's going to be a busy show. I know we were late last time we were together. That was Monday night. Yesterday, my mother and three of my boys and I went to see Back to the Future, the musical, and it was fantastic. It really was good. It's not an ad, but if you get a chance, it's worth going to see. We had a good time there, and it's there's something about live music, live theater, live musicals, live anything. Everything's better live. It's more communal. The audience was great. Had a really, really great time with it. So was obviously not here last night, but we're here tonight, and we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a whole lot to talk about. We're going to open with one of my all-time favorite Patsy stories, a Patsy story that, frankly, I think solved, but everybody just looks the other way and they don't want to talk about it. So we're gonna open there. We're gonna jump in a little bit to the Joe Kent battle going on right now. I have an interview I'd like to get into if there's time at the end of the program. So I'm gonna get into the Joe Kent thing. I'm gonna get a little bit of Mike Huckabee and some things going on over there. And then if we have time, I intend to get into the Andrew Kolvet interview with Dave Rubin, because I was astonished by a lot of it, frankly. I think it was one of the most blatantly dishonest displays of interview Q&A I've heard in a long time. Both of those people disgraced themselves. I'm sorry, Andrew. I know you're a big fan of the program. You disgraced yourself. It was horrid. It was absolutely horrid. And so I'd like to get into that if we have time at the end. We should. I go back and forth on Andrew. I keep trying to come to a point in my life where I can trust Andrew, where I think Andrew's doing the right thing, where I think he's going to become a good guy, where I think he's ready to make a turn. He might say something. I get this little inkling inside of me. And then he goes and does what he does. Oh, a couple of things. So the next couple of shows, we may have to do a show Friday. I'm not sure, because we have a lot to cover. We have a whole lot to cover. I'm getting information that is frankly shocking. And it has to do with some of the activities in the immediate, let's say, 8 or 10 minutes before the Big Bang when Charlie Kirk went down. And then the immediate aftermath, we'll call it 20, 30 minutes after. There are a lot of lies we've been told. There's a reason some of the videos have been cut the way they've been cut, and we've not been allowed to see certain angles of certain things. If the information I'm getting is true, and I believe it is, if the information I'm getting true is true, I think it's pretty devastating. I don't want to say it turns the case upside down, because to me, the case is already upside down. I don't want to say it solves the case, because I don't think it solves the case. But I think it adds a legitimate wrinkle to the case. It adds a legitimate line of inquiry that makes the case that much more, the Fed slop narrative, that much more unbelievable. So that should be ideally coming in the next couple of days. We'll see how that pans out. It might be next week before we can get that information, verify it, and bring it to the folks. I know there's another podcaster who's diligently working on some of those stories as well. And so, all things in due time, I would love to rush everything, and I would love to come out and be first. I'm not worried about being first. I want to be right. I want to have a reputation of being right. If I say something is absolutely the case, I want it to be the case. So with that said, I do want to get into one of my all-time favorite Patsy stories. It's an absolute brilliant story, and it involves, I think, a lot of application to what we've been studying for the last 6 months or so relative to the removal of Charlie Kirk from this mortal coil. So let me get this queued up here. Let me get it in the right spot. Patience, my dear friends. Man, I get so many emails like, you just need a producer. I'm like, well, are you buying? Are you buying the producer? A lot of them work for free. Okay, here we go. Here is your opening statement. And again, this story has become one of my very, very favorite stories in the genre of most ignored but blatantly obvious Patsy stories. It involves a guy named Thane Eugene Caesar. Thane Eugene Caesar. He was born in the early 40s. We're not sure. 1941, 1942. He was a California native, had a background in the manual trades, primarily worked a career in the aerospace and defense sector, and it granted him extraordinary access to classified government projects. From 1966 until 1971, He worked as a maintenance plumber at the Lockheed Aircraft Corporation's Burbank, California facility. The plant served as a hub for very highly sensitive U.S. intelligence operations. In particular, the plant was the location of the production of the maintenance and of the classified, U-2 spy plane. The U-2, not the band, the plane, is a reconnaissance aircraft. It's developed in partnership with the CIA, and it was for high-altitude surveillance over adversarial territories during the Cold War. The role demanded a high-level security clearance issued by the Department of Defense, and that security clearance allowed Caesar entry into restricted zones where national security secrets were handled daily. Such clearances typically involve rigorous background checks, things like investigations into personal associations, your political affiliations, and loyalty. It underscores the trust placed in employees amid the era's rapidly expanding military-industrial complex. Lockheed's Burbank operations exemplified the blurred lines between civilian defense contracting and intelligence work in the 1960s. The U-2 program originally was a CIA initiative under President Eisenhower. It involved cutting-edge technology for photographic intelligence gathering. U-2 planes deployed over the Soviet Union and other hotspots. Employees like Caesar, even in support roles like plumbing and maintenance, required extreme vetting because the facility housed prototypes. It housed classified blueprints, and the personnel interfaced directly with CIA liaisons. This environment exposed workers to sort of compartmentalized knowledge of covert programs. It fostered an insular culture where defense contractors operated with a quasi-governmental authority. Caesar's employment there aligned him with a network of companies deeply embedded in federal intelligence priorities. This was a fact later highlighted by researchers examining his potential motives and capabilities in the RFK case, Robert F. Kennedy. His clearance level was not entry level. It permitted proximity to sensitive infrastructure, a privilege few civilians enjoyed at the time. He left Lockheed in 1971 and transitioned by 1973 to Hughes Aircraft Company. He was there approximately 7 years. Hughes Aircraft Company was founded by the reclusive billionaire Howard Hughes. In its day, Hughes Aircraft was a powerhouse in aerospace and defense. It specialized in satellites, missiles, aircraft components, had extensive government contracts. Caesar reportedly held the second highest clearance level at the plant, according to his own statements during interviews. As the Hughes aircraft empire expanded into covert operations, this positioned Caesar in the middle of projects that often overlapped with CIA initiatives. Howard Hughes himself maintained close financial and operational ties to the CIA. He used his companies as fronts for CIA activities, including intelligence gathering and influence operations at home and abroad. The firm's Nevada operations, in particular, served as a nexus for CIA contracted work. It blended commercial aviation with espionage. Caesar's role there further entrenched him in the defense intelligence nexus, where clearances facilitated access to technologies and networks that blurred the line between private enterprise and national security. Beyond these primary defense jobs, his activities hinted at deeper intelligence contractor connections. Caesar had previously worked for Bel Air Patrol, a private security firm in Los Angeles. There was an investigative journalist named Lisa Peace who wrote an exhaustive 2018 book, A Lie Too Big to Fail. The book documented how Bel Air Patrol operated under the influence of a guy named Robert Mayhew, a former FBI agent turned prominent CIA contractor. Mayhew orchestrated some of the agency's most notorious covert plots in the 1960s, including multiple attempts to assassinate Fidel Castro. These operations obviously would have had to be approved at the highest levels of the CIA. Mayhew also served as a top aide and fixer for Howard Hughes and managed his security, also managed his political lobbying and some sensitive business dealings as well. Caesar was employed by Mayhew's security firm. He did work tied to these top secret activities. This link places him in the orbit of CIA orchestrated black operations. This is where private contractors provide deniability for government actions. You may have never heard of him before tonight, Thane Eugene Caesar, but I bet you've heard of the man who died in the immediate proximity to him, Robert F. Kennedy Sr. One more individual I need to introduce you to, though, before I put it all together. It's a guy named John Meyer, M-E-I-E-R, John Meyer. And Meyer might be the key to telling the true story of how RFK died. Meyer was a high-ranking Hughes organization executive from 1966 to 1970, and he was one of the few individuals with direct access to Howard Hughes. There was a diary entry he made, dated just a few days after the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. assassination, June 13, 1968. He noted recognizing Caesar from radio reports, and he inquired about Caesar to Robert Mayhew. And again, remember, Meyer knew Mayhew's security firm, Bel Air Patrol. Mayhew's reaction was explosive. He chewed out Meyer, and he forbade any discussion of Caesar or his Bel Air Patrol ties. The obvious conclusion, of course, is just how blatantly Mayhew's reaction suggests Caesar's name triggered alarm within his CIA-linked circle. You put all these ties together, online people search websites, these websites you can go to and you type in a name and information will pop up about them. These websites identified Caesar's profession as, quote, CIA contract agent. These entries appeared across multiple unrelated platforms, and it aligns with the pattern of private individuals hired for deniable intelligence work, much like Mayhew's own Bel Air Patrol contractors. While not official CIA pay records, those remain classified or even non-existent, these online entries do reflect how defense contractors with clearances often moonlight for intelligence agencies. Caesar's extremist political views further contextualize his program. He was a staunch segregationist. He supported George Wallace in 1968 in his bid for president. He openly expressed disdain for the Kennedys for their civil rights advocacy. Such ideology was not uncommon in certain defense circles during the era. Anti-communist sentiment often sort of bled over nicely with most conservative elements in intelligence operations. That takes us to the evening of June 4, 1968. Thane Eugene Caesar arrived at the Ambassador Hotel after his regular shift at Lockheed. Remarkably, he had only the previous week begun his part-time work with a company called Ace Guard Service. This is a security firm working the event where RFK would be speaking. And the hotel notably hired them for some supplemental security while RFK was speaking. In fact, the Kennedy event was just Caesar's second assignment with Ace Security. Caesar reported for duty around 6:05 p.m. He was assigned to crowd control. After Kennedy's speech ended shortly after midnight on June 5th, the senator exited through a narrow pantry area behind the stage to avoid the crowds. Caesar was one of the few armed guards present, and he stepped forward and took hold of Kennedy's right elbow with his left hand. And he began guiding him through this congested kitchen hallway. And he was using his right hand to manage onlookers. While he was escorting Kennedy, a shot rang out. In fact, many shots rang out. Caesar's position at the time of the fatal shots was documented to be behind and slightly to the right of RFK. Keep in mind, it was only his second night on the job. And they placed him with a firearm immediately adjacent to Senator Kennedy. His gun ownership, Caesar's gun ownership, adds another layer of intrigue. He owned, at least at one point, a .22 caliber revolver. This was identical in caliber to the bullets that struck RFK. Unsurprisingly, Caesar claimed to have sold his .22 caliber revolver, just before the assassination. However, receipts turned up later and proved he actually sold it months afterwards. And this raises obvious questions about why he lied. At the scene, he admitted to drawing a revolver, but he claimed it was a .38 revolver, and he denied firing. Later in life, he relocated to the Philippines, where he died from an extended illness in 2019. He was 77 years old. RFK's son, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has long maintained that Sirhan did not fire the bullets that killed his father. He instead points to Thane Eugene Caesar as the one who likely fired the fatal shots. In a 2018 Washington Post interview and a 2021 San Francisco Chronicle op-ed, RFK Jr. detailed his independent review of the evidence that included a personal prison visit with Sirhan himself. RFK Jr. concluded Sirhan could only have fired from the front. He admits Sirhan likely wounded some bystanders and perhaps even grazed RFK. But the reality is the fatal wounds came from behind and from the right of RFK, and they came at point blank range. This is precisely the position occupied by Caesar at the fatal moment. Los Angeles County Coroner Thomas Noguchi, his autopsy revealed the fatal bullet entered behind RFK's right ear, and there were powder burns and stippling, indicated a muzzle distance of at most 3 inches. Other entry wounds angled upward from the rear. Sirhan, tackled after his first shots, stood several feet away in front of RFK, which made those trajectories impossible. RFK Jr. goes on to emphasize ballistics discrepancies. For example, Sirhan's 8-shot revolver, by necessity, cannot account for the 12 to 14 shots that were accounted for. And this includes listening to audio recordings and talking to witnesses at the place, looking at bullet holes. RFK said, quote, "You can't fire 13 shots out of an 8-shot gun. You just can't." Caesar was walking directly behind Kennedy, holding his arm, admitted to having a gun. Witnesses recall him actually firing his gun. Caesar claimed, again, he carried a .38 revolver. It's pretty obvious to me that police failed to investigate the case properly. They failed to investigate Caesar very rigorously at all. Despite his high clearance, or maybe because of his high clearance at Lockheed, his intelligence-adjacent ties. RFK Jr., for his part, has supported Sirhan's parole bids. He's noted Sirhan's varying accounts, but insists the evidence exonerates him of the killing. His quote is, "Compelling evidence suggests that Caesar murdered my father. Sirhan is not my father's killer," end quote. He planned a 2018 meeting with Caesar in the Philippines, but he ultimately canceled it when Caesar started demanding money as a condition of meeting. And then when he died in 2019, obviously all bets were off. As for Sirhan, RFK suggests he was a patsy, or perhaps even a diversion, as Caesar delivered the rear close-range shots that supported the death. This view remains contested, and I don't see how. Official records uphold his conviction. Again, I don't see how. But RFK Jr.'s stance is rooted in the evidence. It's rooted in the science. It's rooted in forensic matches. It's rooted in positional evidence. And it underscores his call for truth. The man behind RFK, not the one in front, fired the fatal rounds. And that is your opening statement. I've always been fascinated by that. I remember hearing for the first time in the last 10 years. It wasn't just recently, but it wasn't decades ago. But I remember hearing 8 or 10 years ago about RFK saying Sirhan did not fire the fatal shot that killed his dad. And I thought, what are you talking about? I mean, this is just solid gold fact. Everyone knows he did. Apparently not. Apparently not. I read a book about it. It was excellent. And then have listened to RFK tell the story many times in many different arenas. And every time you just shake your head and think, why is that man still in prison? I mean, obviously he tried to kill him, and obviously he pulled a gun and wounded people and may have even shot RFK himself. But I always wonder, like, at what point do we start looking around and saying, hey guys, we've got a long history in this country of lining up patsies, convicting them, and then everybody just sort of moves on with their life. This happens way too much, and I am scared to death it's happening in this case. I hear so many people complaining. Are you guys still talking about it? Yes, we are. Yes, we're still talking about it. I'm absolutely still talking about it. I'm not giving up on it at all. But there are other things that pop up from time to time, like this Joe Kent story. I like Joe Kent, for the record, clarify. I'm not neutral on this. I like Joe Kent. I think he's a good guy. I think he's an American hero, 11-time deployment, lost a wife in combat. And when I heard Trump hired him, I actually thought, okay, this is pretty good. This is a good hire. Remember, Joe Kent was one of the two people who went to the FBI, I guess, searching for files on the Tyler Robinson case to see if there was any kind of international element to it, to see if there was any kind of foreign involvement. I don't know if he was looking at foreign countries. I don't know if he was looking at lone wolves that perhaps were foreign, or maybe some foreign group. I don't know what he was looking for because he hadn't talked about it, but he went looking for something. And the word on the street was that Kash Patel waved him off. You can't do that. You can't be looking into it. And I thought, what is this weird? He's the director of counterterrorism. He works for the DNI. Why on earth would you be waving him off? If he wants to look at the file, let him look it over. It's not like he's a danger to national security. You can't get a higher position without being the DNI. I always thought that was weird. And so I've always thought Joe Kent was a good guy. And I was shocked this week when Joe Kent stepped aside. And he wrote a long letter about why, but I want to introduce you real quickly because I've noticed a double standard here. And without double standards, some people would have no standards at all. But I want to introduce you real quickly to Joe Kent's wife, his first wife, Shannon Kent. She died in the line of duty, January 16, 2019. This is her. Get a good look at her. She was the Navy chief cryptologic technician. She was killed in a suicide bomb attack in Syria, a country we never should have been in, a country we never should have gotten ourselves in. It was an absolute disaster from the beginning. It's going to be a doo-doo stain on the history of this country by the time it's over. Write that down. She was from Pine Plains, New York. 9/11 terror attacks were a driving force behind her decision. I mean, this is somebody who's doing it for the right reasons. Multiple tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. Recognized many times for her work, earning 2 Joint Service Commendation medals. I mean, she's a hero. But look here. She survived by her husband, Joe Kent, who's retired U.S. Army Special Forces, i.e. he's a Green Beret, and 2 young sons, Colton and Josh. I think they were like 1 and 3 at the time or something, 1 and 4 maybe. And there are lots of photos of her. And I bring these up for a reason. Because when Joe Kent resigned, there are 2 ways to resign from a job. You can quietly leave out the back door and you can just take your stuff and leave. That's option A. And for most people, I recommend that, frankly. Maintain good relationships. You never know when you're going to need somebody's help. Let them know where they can reach you, where they can mail you a check. Like, that's option A. And I would say like 99.999% of the time, I recommend people do that. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care how bad somebody's done you. Just quietly leave your job, pack up your stuff, tell them you had a nice day and leave. And then there's the rarely used option, the rarely needed option. Joe Kent walked through door number 2. He put on Twitter his resignation letter. And it was a scorcher. It was a scorcher. I won't go. I know you've read this a million times. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. But I want to point out a couple of things. After much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position of the director of National Counterterrorism Center. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. That might have been enough right there to have people attack him, but he probably could have gotten away with that. If he would have just walked out and said, I'm kind of, my first wife died in war. I'm a war widower. I'm a Gold Star husband. I'd rather not see people go to war if we don't have to. And I don't feel like this war is really necessary. I got a little PTSD. I don't want to be around the administration if this is how we're going to act. So I'm going to see myself out the back door. I think a lot of people would have been like, all right. But he went on to give the next sentence, which I think has caused the irrational outrage. And I'll get to some of that irrational outrage. And I want to point out the double standard here when I do. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. I agree, Joe. I could not agree more. I don't think Iran could pose an imminent threat to our nation if they wanted to, and I don't think they wanted to. We have two big, beautiful oceans between Iran and us. It's not like they could show up unannounced and we wouldn't know they were here. It's not like you have to send Paul Revere out anymore. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. You don't have to run through town ringing a bell saying the redcoats are coming. We have satellite technology. We have laser technology. We have technology you and I don't even know about. There's things out there we don't even know of. They posed no imminent threat to our nation. It is absolutely crystal clear, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Period. Even if they had missile capacity which could reach the United States, which they don't, by the way. But even if they did have missile capacity that could reach the United States, we would know it's coming for like 4 hours, 6 hours. That's not an exaggeration. And it would be wholly foolish of a country like that to attack the U.S. homeland. I used to think that, actually. I used to think, well, why would they do that? We could wipe them out in an hour. Well, apparently we can't. I used to think we could. Maybe that's where I've gone awry. Maybe the threat was more imminent than I thought, but I thought the threat of absolute guaranteed overnight disaster would be enough to have you not do it. But either way, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center said the Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. And I tend to agree. Granted, these people have seen more intel than I have. I'm not going to die on that hill, but I firmly believe that's true. I think even if he had said that, he could have gotten away with it. I think if he said, look, I can't support the ongoing war in Iran. They pose no threat to our nation. I think people would have said, all right, Joe, you're a little goofy. You're a little crazy. Just get out of here. It's this next independent clause following the conjunction and. This is what got him cooked. This is what's going to lead to potentially the ruin of his professional career. This is what's going to allow him to be smeared viciously across all platforms. And this is it. It is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. You're not allowed to say that in this country. You're not allowed to say that anymore. You know how they say if you identify the person you're not allowed to criticize, then you know who rules you? This is where we are. You are not allowed to say that we started a war due to pressure from a foreign country, particularly that foreign country. You're just not allowed to. Anyway, he attaches his letter there, and it's just as wild. But I'll tell you what. I don't disagree with anything he said. I think he's right. And I think that's probably the one time you should pull the burn the house down on your way out of a job card. I don't think you should pull it often. I think most people, I don't care how mad you are, how angry you are, I think most people should just quietly quit. Even if you get a little frustrated on your way out, just send a terse quit message. Just say, I quit, and walk out. But pointing your finger in the boss's face and telling him to shove it, which is basically what this is not ideal for most people, but it's the door he chose. And I'm frankly glad he did, because somebody needed to say it. Somebody important needed to say it. And as you can imagine, it caused all kinds of backlash. I'll give you just a little bit of a tiniest hint of the backlash it caused. Because we haven't been banned in a while. I'm just going to play about 20 seconds. I cannot, this is the 2-minute clip, and I can't get through a 2-minute clip to save my life for this guy. You'll notice perched precariously over his eyes are 2 giant caterpillars. It's fine. They're not going to harm you. They're on the other side of the screen. They cannot get through your screen into your house. They're not going to invade your yard. They're not going to land on your legs. They're not going to tickle you. You're good. I promise you. I promise you. You're fine. But here is, I actually have that mug right there. That Leftist Tears mug right there. I have that. It's actually a damn good mug. It holds hot coffee hot for a very long time. Your hot tea will stay hot forever in that thing. I don't recommend you buy it because you got to give your money to Daily Wire. I won it at a Dirty Santa contest a few years ago. But I have it. It's actually a really good mug. But let me pause no further and let you hear his criticism of Joe Kent. I just got to give you a taste of it because I want to compare it to obvious criticism that we're not allowed to make of other people.
Well, this morning, Joe Kent quit his job at the National Counterterrorism Center and issued a scathing letter designed to undermine President Trump. The letter is deeply, deeply conspiratorial. It states openly that, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, that is conspiracy trash.
Conspiracy trash. You're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to say it's conspiracy. You're just conspiracy trash. Look at those things. Holy mackerel. There was a time when they didn't look like that. I'm going to be honest. There was a time when you didn't get assaulted quite like this when you tuned in. I'm just telling you, there was a time. There was a time. But he goes on. I'm just giving you a taste of it. He goes on and he lambasts Joe Kent and calls him all kinds of names. And I started watching this and I was thinking, wait a minute. Now, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. Because Mark Levin has gone in, his entire Twitter feed for several days has been nothing but Joe Kent bashing. But I started thinking about this is just not fair. Because Joe Kent is a widower. He's a legitimate widower. Like, his wife died in combat. If anyone gets a pass, it's someone whose wife died in combat. And he had nothing to do with it, by the way. He couldn't have. She died from a suicide attack, meaning somebody else on the other side took their own life and in the process took her life. There was no rumors he was at Fort Huachuca in the days leading up to it. There was no rumors he came out at her funeral to fireworks in a gold Trump suit, a gold Elvis suit. There were no rumors he'd lied about his resume, inflated his academic credentials. There were no rumors he was sending out text messages to underage boys or girls when he was 25 years old. No rumors that he was shacking up with ball players and lying about it, saying he was doing humanitarian work. No rumors that he opened some scam charity and had never actually done any real charitable work with it. There was no evidence that he lied and said he didn't date anybody for 5 years and did. Like, none of that's true with Joe Kent. The only thing true with Joe Kent is he did 11 combat tours. He served in one of the most elite military units, not in the United States, on the planet. He did intelligence work on behalf of the country. He did military work on behalf of the country. And he has an opinion. And he thinks the war was unnecessary. I tend to agree with him. He thinks the war was started at the behest of the pressure of another country. I tend to agree with him. You know who else would tend to agree with him? Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, who said basically the same thing. That we started this war because we knew Israel was going to do it. And if they were going to do it, it was going to cause backlash, so we might as well be in there to start it first. That's pressure from Israel. That's the legitimate same thing that Joe Kent said. He said the same thing that Marco Rubio said. And he's a widower. And so apparently there's this double standard. In order to qualify for what I'm going to call the widow exemption, and we could extend that. I mean, we're a progressive country. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for women is good for men. If we're going to extend this, you're not allowed to criticize widows. And Andrew Kolvet said that in his interview with Dave Rubin, that basically once someone's a widow, you're just not allowed. We don't worry about all the widows who actually were later found out to have killed their husbands. We don't worry about them. Widows are off the table. You're not allowed to investigate them. You're not allowed to look into them. You're not allowed to document their obvious lies. You're not allowed to point them out. You're not allowed to create lists about them. You're not allowed to do podcasts about them. You're not allowed to put notifications on Twitter that they're obvious liars. You're not allowed to do any of that. They're widows, after all. Yet when Joe Kent is a widow, you're allowed to blast him. I put it on Twitter, and one of the top comments I got, one of the fastest comments I got back was, well, he's remarried. Well, he still has 2 kids by her, and I'm sure he still misses her, frankly. He intended to live with her for the rest of his life. I've never seen him in a gold sequin suit. I looked. I went to Grok and asked him. I went to Claude and asked, can you find me an image of Joe Kent in a gold sequin suit? No, I couldn't find one. Can you find me an image of Joe Kent showing up at his wife's funeral to fireworks? I couldn't find any. Now, to be fair, I couldn't find any pictures of him showing up to his wife's funeral. But I don't believe there were fireworks. I think it was a firework-free zone. I've never seen him in tight leather pants, weirdly hugging another woman. These are things I've never seen from Joe Kent, but we're allowed to criticize Joe Kent. Why? Because he has the wrong opinion on our greatest ally. He has a wrong opinion on American foreign policy. Therefore, all bets are off. You're allowed to trash him. You can go right after him, right down the main street and just crush him. And they're going after him because he's booked an interview with Candace and he's booked an interview with Tucker. And that's evidence he's an evil person. What they're not mentioning is he also booked an interview with Mark Levin. He is going to do an interview with Mark Levin, believe it or not. Or at least he agreed to do an interview with Mark Levin. I don't know if Mark Levin's got the gonads to follow through with it, but here is Mark Levin thinking he's getting the upper hand.
Joe Kent, I would like to interview you on my radio show, either today or Friday or one day next week for a full hour. I don't know how to reach you. Have your people call my people.
That is the dumbest line I've ever heard, by the way. Joe Kent responds in 3 words. Sure, let's go. Can you imagine the panic at the Levin household? Mark walks in, he kicks the door down. He looks at his wife.
I showed up Joe Kent today.
His wife looks back. Oh, tell me all about it.
I put on Twitter that he was doing an interview with Tucker and with Candace. So I challenged him. I said, Joe Kent, I want to do an interview. 1 hour. No holds barred. No questions off the table. There's no way he'll come back.
Bing. Oh, wife grabs the phone, looks at it.
Oh, no. What's that, honey?
He's agreed to do the interview.
Oh, no. He's called my bluff. I'm going to be exposed for the fraud I've always been. What am I going to do?
That's Mark Levin. That's Mark Levin. Micro Mark Levin. Mark Levin might fit on Ben Shapiro's tiny horse. I'm not sure. But I'm bothered by the double standard. I'm bothered by this notion that some people are off limits to criticism. That is not an American concept. It's not an American concept. I take my share of lumps. Candace takes her share of lumps. I'm sure lots of you in the comments, when you're on X and you make wild statements, you take your share of lumps. It's not unusual. Mark Levin's got away with words. What can I say? What can I say? All right, I want to switch gears. I want to play another video that's obviously strange. Now, there's been a lot of discussion whether this video I'm about to play is AI. I don't want to weigh in on that. That's not why I'm showing it. What I want to show about the video is one of the 2 people in this video is humiliating himself. One of the 2 people may not even be alive, but one of the 2 is humiliating himself. He's fawning all over himself. When you're an ambassador of the United States of America, your job is to represent the interests of the United States of America. Your job is to be over there, to be a negotiator, to play hardball if necessary, to be respected, to let them know you can't run all over me. Like if I was the ambassador to Rwanda, right? I don't know. Picked a random country. My job is not to fawn all over the king of Rwanda or the prime minister of Rwanda. I don't even know what they have over there. I'm sure they got some kind of governmental structure, but my job's not to fawn all over them and tell them they're the most amazing people in the world. My job is to say, hey, Rwandians, whatever they're called, push comes to shove, you're going to bow down because I work for the greatest country that ever lived. I mean, you got to take that position, right? Might not be. You got to take it, though. You got to argue it. It's your job. And I'll be friendly with you as long as you're doing our bidding, as long as you're doing what we want. And then you got this clown who's not playing that role, by the way. He's not doing the job correctly. I'm going to play this. Watch only Mike Huckabee. I know everybody's keyed in on this weird vision on the right-hand side of the screen. This strange and surreal video that may or may not be an actual living, breathing human being, and it might be an artificial creation. I have strong words about that. I'm going to get to them in just a second. But I want you to key in on just the portly fella on the left-hand side of the screen. The guy who needs to get off the couch and off the carbs. I want you to follow him as we roll video.
Mr. Prime Minister,
Oh, it's on mute? Oh, I've got it on mute. Let me back it back. You guys probably didn't have it on mute.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wanted you to know the president asked me to come and make sure you were okay.
You should never make that face when you're an ambassador. That should never be a face you make. Oh, the president, he wanted me to make sure you're okay, Mr. Prime Minister. You should never make that face ever anyway. Whether you're talking to a prime minister on behalf of the United States, whether you're talking to your kids or grandkids, that's a face you should never make. That's creepy. That's a weird face. Again, don't worry about that vision on the right-hand side. Don't worry about whether that guy's real. Don't worry about whether he's AI. I'll address that in a second. I just want you to key in on the guy in the bad tie on the left.
Yes, Mike. Yes, I'm alive.
I checked that, and I'm happy to see that. But he wanted to make sure because, you guys get along too well.
I know, and we shake hands with 5 fingers in each hand.
Look at that face. That is like, that's a face. I can't even describe what that is. That is a face you make. I'm going to get in trouble if I say what I really think. That's a face 18-year-old boys make at the bar when there's a pretty girl, or 21 or however old you have to be to get in the bar. And they're willing to say anything and do anything. That face is the face of a person who will do anything to get you home. Anything. There's nothing that will stop that person making that face. When someone makes that face to you, you own the entire situation. Ah, yeah. Yeah. That's great.
But I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card.
Oh.
And, don't read it. So,
Mike, you're not supposed to listen to the man. You represent the United States. He's showing you information that could be valuable. Read the list. Read the list, Mike. Oh, no, he told me not to read it, so I'm going to look awkwardly over here to the right and comply and be in complete obedience to the guy. No, Mike.
it's a punch card.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I erased 2 names on the punch cards.
Mike couldn't be happier about death. He's a bloodthirsty ghoul.
And you see how many more to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
I cannot get over these faces. I cannot get over the fact that a grown human being would go to another country and make those faces to an elected official that he's supposed to be over there representing us. It looks more like he works for that guy, doesn't it? It looks way more like Mike Huckabee works for that potentially AI image or whatever this is on the right-hand side of the screen. But it looks way more like he works for that guy than he works for us. It's so bad.
Your name is on the list of the good guys.
Thank you.
And
I think he might be on another list. I really think he might be on another list. The Einstein files. I don't know. I mean, he's on some kind of list, or he wouldn't be there looking like that, acting like that clownish figure.
What the president, the U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to watch this whole thing. Guys, I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if he's alive. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I've seen no convincing evidence he's alive. I've also seen no convincing evidence he's dead. I've seen neither. What I do know is that in the age of AI, does it matter? In the age of acceptable body doubles, does it matter? In the age of a media that asks no legitimate questions, does it really matter? In the age of the deep state, does it really matter if the leader of a particular country is alive? It doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. To me, I look at that, I don't think it matters. That's probably the thing that scares me the most about AI is they can create anybody. They could have me up here saying whatever. They could have Netanyahu walking around saying whatever. They could have Trump walking around saying whatever. They probably had Biden walking around saying whatever. I mean, that guy, I don't know that he knew exactly who he was there by the end of the term. And it didn't matter. You've got an auto pen. You've got AI videos. Let's just run the party while he's gone. Let me real quickly play a video about Mike Huckabee talking about how bloodthirsty he is. This guy, this is a weird set of videos here. I'm going to play a few little different clips here, but watch Mike Huckabee just talk about how jazzed he is about slaughtering people, human beings. The guy's supposed to be a Baptist preacher.
We spent 2 days here now, and almost everyone we've met with across the spectrum within the Jewish community, that's where we've been meeting, none of them have expressed any fear about going into bomb shelters or ballistic missiles from Iran. Every one of them universally has said to us, you must be excited to be here. You're going to have a front row seat to the miracles that are about to happen.
Yeah.
When you speak about the resilience of the Israeli people and what they've been through for 2 years, they're not in fear. At least those who we've met with across the spectrum have all expressed this faith and almost, I don't want to describe excitement, but they've had a front row seat to miracles for 2 years, and they feel like they're about to see the next chapter of it. And they ask you, aren't you excited to be here for it? You must feel so grateful. You're going to see the redemption come before you. Is that your experience too with the way that Israelis are approaching this potential of having to be in bomb? Even as we sit here right now, you know, we don't. I'm sure you would have canceled if there were greater concern. That gives us a little comfort in the moment, at least. But in this country, you have to know your whereabouts all the time. Where is the closest shelter? When might a siren go off? Is that part of the consciousness, your experience, even as you're approaching these coming hours or days or whatever might happen next?
These guys are excited about this war. If you're excited about a war, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't required. If you're excited about having a front row seat to quote unquote the redemption, then it's not a necessary war. That right there, that video right there should be enough that Donald Trump says, okay, we're getting out. We've had enough of this. You guys dragged us into this. We dropped your bombs. We killed your schoolgirls or whoever did that. But innocent people are dying. Civilian infrastructure is getting bombed. Frankly, innocent people on both sides are dying. We need to get out of here. We need to stop this. And if you guys want to be excited for war, that's your business. But we don't want to be excited for war. I don't want the United States going to war that we're excited about. You should go to war dragged in, kicking and screaming against your will. You should go in saying, this is not something I want, but if you guys are going to force the issue, we're going to terrify you. We're going to destroy you. It should never be something you're giddy about. That guy is giddy. That guy is giddy to be at war.
It's always amazing to me that Israelis don't have this fear of what could happen. They don't curl up in a fetal position and crawl up under their bed and refuse to get out.
That's because we protect them, Mike. That's because we spend millions of dollars per missile that goes up to protect them. That's why. They're not defending themselves. We pulled our assets from our allies in the region and are using those assets to protect them. That's why he's excited, and that's why they're not scared.
And go anywhere each day. They live their lives. They live it to the fullest. I was here.
That was a Christian verse, by the way. He's quoting John 10:10 there. Jesus said, I come to give you life that you can live to the full and that you might live it to the fullest. I'm not sure it's applicable here, but that's neither here nor there.
September of 24, I was here to tape some television footage for my television show. And I was having lunch in Tel Aviv with a friend of mine, and all of a sudden the Iron Dome, the siren goes off, and the Iron Dome intercepts a rocket from Gaza right above our heads. You can hear it and see it. Everybody goes to the shelter. I was amazed. Nobody was rushing. Nobody was pushing or shoving, but everyone methodically, no one ignored it, but everyone went down, got in the shelter, which was in the basement of the restaurant, stood there, chatted. When the all clear came, everybody just methodically got up and went back and finished their now cold lunch. And it was almost, and I was just thinking, had this happened in America? I mean, people would have been screaming and yelling and, calling, I don't think I'm going to make it. And all of these moments, it would have been totally different. It is amazing to see, again, that goes to the resilience of.
Mike, it's because that's not a normal situation. You should be in a state of terror when rockets are coming at you. You shouldn't get so accustomed to this ongoing, continual battle that you're praising the fact that the battle has gone on so long that they've just learned how to sort of adapt and live around it. But the whole conversation is just disgusting. The whole idea that there's just this giddiness to go to war. Oh, we got a front row seat to the war. We got a front row seat to the redemption. Mike Huckabee takes to Twitter and posts this just to make sure we're not confused about everyone's proper status of their victimhood here. Mike Huckabee goes to Twitter and posts this. Reports Israel's closed the Church of Holy Sepulchre and Al-Aqsa. It's supposed to be Al-Aqsa mosque, but it's Al-Aqsa. It's like a Jewish search engine. I'll ask a question. I'll ask a mosque. Omit the important fact. The Western Wall, Judaism's holiest site, is also closed. Yeah, Mike, nobody cares. That's the problem. A large piece of Iranian missile landed in the courtyard at Church of the Holy Sepulchre. If not closed, mass casualties. The point is, you guys closed the holy sites for the other two religions. We don't care that you closed your own holy site. That's not the point. If people want to take the risk and go into the church, go into the mosque, that's their problem. Let them know that there's a risk. I have this sneaking suspicion, and I hope it's not true. I have this sneaking suspicion that they're going to try something up there. Now they're going to try something, try to capture that mosque area while all this is going on, and then they'll blame Iran. That's just a sneaking suspicion I have. Why? Because we've got this weirdly pinned tweet that kind of gives the game away. This is from the foreign ministry giving the game away here. An Iranian missile exploded over Jerusalem's Old City. Fragments fell on the Church of the Holy Sepulchre compound and near the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. The Iranian regime is targeting the holy sites of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Nothing is sacred to this regime. It's almost setting up the idea that we're going to false flag this thing and there's nothing you can do to stop us. I see no Iranian missile there, by the way. It's a really terrifying set of circumstances that are building up over there. A very, very terrifying set of circumstances. And I'm not entirely sure that if this thing doesn't trend more quickly in Israel's favor, that they don't start pulling some of these some of these dirty tricks. Okay. I want to switch gears once again. I do want to play this video. We are going to have time, and I wanted to get to it. I want to play a little bit of this interview. I don't want to play the whole thing. We're playing this under fair use, Dave. I encourage people, if you want to see the whole video, go over to Dave Rubin's YouTube page. I'll show you the YouTube page. It's called the Rubin Report. The Rubin Report. If you want to see the whole thing, go over there. I'm not going to play so much of it that you wouldn't want to go watch it if it tickles your fancy. But I do want to, under fair use, Dave, play a little bit of it because I think it's important that we provide a little commentary here. First thing you'll notice is Andrew Kolvet is sitting in front of a television screen that has Charlie Kirk's logo on the back of it. It just says Charlie Kirk. It doesn't say Turning Point USA. It doesn't say the Charlie Kirk Show. It just says Charlie Kirk. Later in the interview, they will discuss this weird, morbid reality that people are speaking for a dead Charlie Kirk. And to Andrew's credit, he actually points out that it's a little weird and that they walk a very fine line doing so. But he has no problem sitting in front of a banner that says Charlie Kirk, just in case anyone didn't know why he was invited on the program. But I want to ask a question. I want to play about 25-second clip here, and I want to ask a question at the end of it. See if you guys have the same question when you get to the end of this 27-second clip here.
Okay, so let's dive in. There's a lot to talk about, but I thought before we do any of the politics, any of the headaches and all of the other stuff, we are just over 6 months since the assassination of both of our friend, but your very, very close friend and your colleague. You know, I've known you for years. I didn't know exactly what your title was, but to me, you were always just kind of Charlie's right-hand man. If I saw Charlie, you were just within feet of him always.
If Andrew was always within feet of Charlie, where was Andrew on September 10th? I can't get an answer out of anyone on this. I've asked people. I've asked my contacts over at TPUSA. Was Andrew typically with Charlie at these types of events? And they said, yeah, actually, the more I think about it, he was. He's a press guy. He's a PR guy. Why wouldn't he be at a giant PR event? So I have trouble with that, and it's possible the answer is, well, he wasn't always with him, and this is just one of those times when he happened to not be with him, but Dave just kind of gave the game away. When I see Charlie, I saw you. You guys were just always together. You were always a few feet away from each other. That was a little weird to me. I have to clip this very tightly, and here's why. For a PR guy, Andrew Kolvet might be the worst interviewee in the history of mankind. He cannot answer a question. He had like a question that should take him 11 seconds to answer is like 2.5 minutes. Andrew would do well to call me and say, but bam, can you teach me how to answer questions? I'll be happy to, Andrew. I'll be happy to talk to you about brevity. Brevity is the soul of wit, Andrew. I'll be happy to tell you about how to tighten these answers up. But let me play the 11-second clip here. 11-second clip.
You know, I mean, we're about to get into the messy part of this conversation in just a bit. And it's hard not to draw a direct line between Charlie's assassination and some of the craziness that we've all seen.
He's making an obvious point here. There is craziness going on the right now, and he's saying it's hard not to draw a line between the craziness that's going on and Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'm going to just continue rolling here for another few seconds.
Yeah, and it's weird even that we both feel that, because we spoke for a minute or two before we started recording here, and there obviously is a whole bunch of messy stuff. And I'm sure you've seen it, but there's that meme now, which is showing Charlie as the dam. And, basically when Charlie left us, that we've just been flooded with insanity from a lot of quarters that we didn't think insanity was gonna come from. How is that? So we'll get into some of the details on that, but how is that just the general state of craziness from probably people you considered allies and friends? How much has that made it more difficult to continue Charlie's legacy over the last, half year?
I'm offended by this question. I'm offended by this question, by the way. Because he puts up the meme, and I don't know if you could see it. I tried to pull the closed caption down so you could see it. But he puts up a meme, and it's basically Charlie Kirk is the dam. And below the dam, where the stream is people trying to do the good work of conservatism, right? Get people elected, all that kind of stuff. Above the dam, what the dam was holding back is basically like a sea of retardedness or whatever, however it worded it. This is not me making fun of the word the R word. It's them. But the question is posited, saying essentially, is Charlie Kirk's death, has it led to a washing away of conservatism and allowed in a flood of retarded people? I mean, that's the only way to read that question. And maybe I'm retarded because I'm offended by that. And I don't know how I would be offended, but for the fact that I'm retarded. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just not that bright. It really bothers me. That question really bothers me. All right. He's going to get into a little bit of the difference between in real life and the internet. And I want you to listen carefully, because as he's talking about this, I want you to ask yourself an obvious question. Is this why they're trying so hard to shut down any investigation into Charlie Kirk, any discussion, any pointing out of anything? Is this why they're trying to cancel Candace? Is this why they're trying to cancel Tucker? Is this why they're trying to cancel people? You know, cancellations used to be the province of the left. Now it is the firm province of the right. Ben Shapiro's trying to cancel people. Mark Levin's trying to cancel people. Andrew Kolvet's trying to cancel people. Erika Kirk's trying to cancel people. Blake Neff is trying to cancel people. Brandon Tatum's trying to cancel people. All these people are trying to cancel people. This is now just the currency of the right. But I want you to ask yourself, is this why they're trying to cancel people?
Yeah, you know, it's this weird dichotomy between the online lived experience and then just the IRL, right? And you know, the in real life, you know, interactions have been amazing, honestly. In Charlie's, you feel just, you know, the legacy that Charlie leaves behind in those interactions, interpersonal, and people just how much they loved him, how much they are trying to support us and want to support his mission and keep it going and want to support Turning Point. And that's been amazing. It genuinely has been heartwarming. And I wish people could, on the internet could feel what I feel and see what I see, because it's overwhelming. And then there's the internet, right? Then there's social media, and you get like a whole different perspective, and you feel the venom. And I think that's a sort of a casualty of our modern world, is that the incentive structure online is so much different than it is interpersonally. And I think it skews realities, it skews perceptions. And I think that's a real danger. So some of the messiness has certainly made things more difficult. And that does end up translating into IRL, right?
So the reason I wanted to play this clip, it reminded me of when they invited Candace on to do the in-person interview or the Zoom interview or whatever, however it was interpreted. But there was going to be an actual physical exchange, an actual intellectual exchange back and forth. That was the plan. This was mid-December for those of you who were not following along at the time. Turning Point challenged Candace. Let's call a truce for a couple of days. We'll set up a time and we'll just go through these issues one by one and we'll give our side of it. And Candace accepted, said, yeah, I'll be there. You name the time and place, I'll be there. And they said, okay, this day, that time, whatever. But then they put a condition on it. You have to accept within the next 24 hours and you have to arrive in person or we're not going to do it. And of course, she wasn't able to turn her schedule upside down in order to make it that quickly. But my broader point I'm making here is the in real life interactions he's saying are actually going swimmingly. It's the online interactions that aren't going well. Well, who are the online people? It's the people you won't interact with. I invited Tyler Boyer on this show. He declined. I'll invite Andrew Kolvet on the show. He'll decline in all likelihood. Andrew, I'll fly out to Santa Barbara. We'll do it at your place. I'll fly you to Nashville. We can do it at my place. I don't care. But if you want to have in real life interactions, that might have a little friction involved in them, that might have a little debate, that might have a little back and forth. Maybe we'll find some common ground on some of these things. I imagine on some of these issues we won't. But what they've done is they've curated by banning everybody, by Tucker's not allowed to be around, Candace is not allowed to be around, you guys aren't allowed to talk to these people, don't listen to these people, don't have them at our event, keep them away. Well, yeah, naturally, if I was allowed to pick only the people I interact with on a daily basis, I would probably walk around and say, it's amazing. I walk around in real life and I only meet the best people in the world. Everybody loves me. Well, yeah, because you've limited who can be around you. That's the problem. It's like these polls that come out and say, 96% of self-identified MAGA people support the Iran war. Yeah, well, you guys have said if you don't support the Iran war, you're not MAGA. And so I guess I'm not. And so if you call me and say, do you support the Iran war? No. You consider yourself MAGA? I guess not. Okay, check. You didn't ask about Trump voters in 2016, 2020, and 24. I bet of 3-time Trump voters, that number's a little lower than 94% or 96%. And I bet if they didn't carefully curate this so that Nick Fuentes is never allowed around, and Tucker Carlson's never allowed around, and Candace Owens is never allowed around, and any of these people who disagree with them are never allowed around them, I bet their in real life interactions might not be as pleasant all the time. They might have to face some of these realities from time to time. I bet if you accepted opportunities or invites to come on shows like this, your in real life interactions might have a little more friction. So you can't bootstrap an in real life experience and then claim that the in real life experience is fantastic. It's fantastic because you are limiting who can participate. You are canceling people. You are keeping people on the sidelines. That's the problem. That's the frustration. That's why we don't like you guys right now. You run a charity. You run a nonprofit charity. You don't pay taxes on your income. You might on your personal income, Andrew, but you don't pay taxes on the business income. It's a charity. We support it. All American taxpayers support your effort. You're not supposed to be involved in politics, but this entire interview is about how to win at politics through Turning Point. And so it's obvious it's just an abuse of the charity system. It's an abuse of the tax system. It's an abuse of the 501c3 system. The entire charity is existing right now to get Republicans elected. Generally speaking, I like when Republicans get elected, but I don't like an abuse of the tax code. And I don't like that anyone you disagree with, you exclude from your charity for participating in any of your events. And yes, Andrew, I've seen the messages. I've seen your internal people's messages. I know you guys exclude people. You pass messages around to make sure certain people are left out of events. I've seen it. Don't make me show them. I will. So I know you guys have been doing this a long time. This is not new. Don't let so-and-so show up. Why? It's going to ruin the in real life experience that Andrew was just describing that's going so swimmingly because they exclude everyone who might disagree with him on any issue. I'll play one more quick clip. This one's only about 15. Actually, this one's a little longer than that. But he makes an interesting point that I think some people lose sight of at Turning Point, which is Charlie's not God. And because of that, they need to be very cautious about how they use his voice post-death. And I want to play this clip because I think they violate this very principle on almost a daily basis.
That Charlie could have been the dam forever, especially on things like foreign policy, I think is naive as well. I want to make sure that, Charlie was not Jesus. Charlie loved Jesus. Charlie worshiped Jesus, followed him. So, he was not God here, right? And we were looking at this coming tsunami, whether it be the Epstein stuff, whether it be Israel foreign policy in Iran. We knew that eventually this stuff was going to come to a head. And Charlie, a few weeks before he was killed, sent me this list of the Greek virtues. And I think about it all the time because it's a guiding light for what we're still trying to do at Turning Point and what I think the movement needs. And at the top of that list was philosopher, statesman. At the bottom of that list was performer, carnival barker. And I think, when I look around social media, like I look to see what people are trying to be, the statesmen and the philosophers, and what
I'm the elder statesman of the more beautiful, more handsome podcast crew. So I am being a statesman. I just wanted to point that out, Andrew. If that's your holdback of coming on the program, just know that I'm trying to be a statesman. I'm a bad carnival barker, but I am the elder statesman.
people are really just being entertainers, right? Because podcasting and doing a show, it could be both, right? You could be trying to really elevate the discourse. You could be trying to get the right people elected. You could be trying to make things better, or you could just be, burn it all down so we can recreate the GOP in our image, people, because it's all doom and gloom and there's no point in it. Because we have to share a party with Lindsey Graham or something. So I don't relate to those people. I don't respect those people. Charlie wanted to be the higher virtues, which is philosopher, statesman, coalition builder, and that's But I'm not naive to think that Charlie alone could have kept back I think that the meme goes, the retardation so many of us are experiencing.
That's a key line. I think it's the keyest, if I can make that word up, the keyest line in the entire interview. Charlie alone could not have kept the retardation out. This is critical because it gives the game away. In other words, I'll recast what he's saying here, and if I'm wrong, I'm open to correction. You can send me a list. You can send me a statement. I'll read it. They are reserving the right to change Charlie's views post-death and claim they're Charlie's views. That's all they're doing. That's what that whole line meant. That's what the whole meme was about. Charlie was keeping the retardation out. And he wasn't going to be able to do that forever. And so now that he's dead, the retardation is going to come rolling in. And so we have to reserve the right to change his views post-death. Remember, he was talking at the early part of that clip. It was a little over a minute clip. I apologize. I didn't know it was that long. But he was saying at the beginning part of that clip that, we knew all this stuff was going to come to a head. We knew the Epstein stuff. We knew the Iran war. We knew the Israel question. All this stuff was going to come to a head. In other words, Charlie was going to have to start moderating on these points. I don't think that was Charlie's intent at all. And that's why I think he's not with us anymore, because he made it clear that wasn't his intent. He didn't intend to change his position at all, and now he's gone. I want to play one more clip here because I think this next clip indicates to me that Candace is in grave danger. To me, this clip is Andrew letting his friend, I think Candace, I think we can call her his friend. I think he's letting her know she's in grave danger. I want you to listen carefully to this clip. Because the question is, what are you going to do with Candace, or what do you want to do with Candace? And his answer to me sent a chill down my spine. I was half listening to this interview, making a little timestamp notes, and I was actually working on something else at the same time. And when I would hear something, I'd make a little note, and I'd go back and note the timestamp so I could play it for you guys. When I heard this, I hit pause and I set up. I thought, well, that was terrifying.
Let's just do the hard part of some of this right now real quick, and then we can finish on the messaging side, which is some of the people that not only Turning Point has been associated with, but that I personally have been associated with. And as you know, I used to go on the tours with Charlie.
Clean here, Dave. Yeah.
I think I'm looking pretty good, actually. But some of the people that I've been associated with, that Charlie was associated with, that Turning Point was associated with, have really taken this thing to a very evil place. And obviously at the top of that list is Candace. You, I'm sure, were on some of those tour stops with us. I know you were on some of the tour stops with us, and subsequently other events with them and things of that nature. I mean, what do you want people to do with her at this point, with everything she has done? We don't have to dissect the entire. We don't have to do the entire autopsy on everything that she's done here.
What do you want people to do with her? That's a very terrifying quote. I heard that. I thought, did I hear that right? What? Let's get to the dirty part or the evil part. And he starts talking about how Candace is evil. And he says, what do you want people to do with her? what did they do with Charlie when he became a problem? I mean, honestly, the issues that Charlie was becoming a problem on are pretty closely in line with Candace's views on those same issues. The wars overseas, the monetary influence in politics. I mean, they kind of in line there. It struck me as a threat. It struck me as a very terrifying situation. And I really do worry a little bit. I'm going to skip past this next one I intended to play because as I look at it, I just, here we go. There's an interesting comment on widows.
So, to the Candace question, obviously, I'm on team. You shouldn't be attacking widows. I don't think that gives somebody blanket immunity forever.
Doesn't give them blanket immunity forever. Was that the first crack in the TPUSA foundation that they're building underneath Erika Kirk? I'll play it again because I mistakenly stopped it in the middle of it. I was so shocked he was about to say it. I'm on team don't attack windows, but obviously I don't think they get blanket immunity forever. In other words, at some point the gloves are coming off. Andrew's aware of it. He can only hold the dam back so long.
So to the Candace question, obviously, I'm on team you shouldn't be attacking widows. I don't think that gives somebody blanket immunity forever. I've never suggested that. The Bible's very clear, just for people that are curious, that going after widows is a really bad idea. And I just want to stay up front that I've known Erika since they started dating.
This is an interesting point. I didn't intend to stop it here, but I want to. I want you to pay key attention to what he said Erika was doing while Charlie was running TPUSA. What role did Erika have in training to be the next CEO? This is critical to understanding the internal dynamics at TPUSA, to understanding the frustration some of us on the outside have with Erika leading the organization. Well, listen carefully to how Andrew Kolvet, one of the highest ranking people at TPUSA, one of the highest paid people there, even though he's a contractor, listen to what he has to say that Erika was doing, what her daily life looked like at TPUSA. This is amazing to me that he said this out loud. I don't know that he intended to, unless he's trying to sabotage her.
Charlie and Erika started dating. I remember the first time I met Erika, it was actually at Politicon in Los Angeles many years back.
Oh, man.
And I was like, who is this gal? Like, and Charlie was like, oh, she's hanging out with us today. Charlie, you could tell there was something different though. And I logged it. And Erika has always been tremendous, and she never sought the limelight. She was always very happy to sort of be doing her own thing and just be supportive of Charlie. And she's never been anything but just high character, just warm. She was a total asset to Charlie in the sense that, Charlie was so missional. He was so direct. He was so kind of on just, Energizer Bunny, get and direct about what he needed to get done. And Erika was this humanizing presence just for the staff, for whether it was donors or politicians or whoever he was meeting with. And she was just so, but content to be in the background and be the mom. And Charlie told us multiple times.
She was content to be in the background and be the mom. Now, again, nothing wrong with that. I high praise. Mrs. Coleman runs a tight ship around here. I could not do anything I do without her presence being the mom, or being not being in the background, not meaning she doesn't do anything, but being in the background meaning, keeping everything running. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not throwing shade at her for it. I'm not suggesting her role was unimportant. But at no point in there was he like, yeah, she was in there. She was looking at the books. She was making deals. She was helping us plot campaign strategy, business plans. She was looking 5, 10, 15 years out, trying to figure out where we're going to be. Do we need to open new offices? Who should we hire? He didn't say any of that. She was fine being in the background and being a mom. To that, I say, good. Let's let her go back to that role. She'll probably be great at it. She's been training for years. I thought that was fascinating. And then we get this next 17-second clip. Even though she has no training in this, even though she was not preparing for this role, even though she was just in the background, even though she was just being supportive, even though she was just being the mom, we knew for a fact Charlie wanted her in this role. Charlie demanded she be in this role, even though it's not Charlie's call. Even though Charlie worked at the pleasure of the board, Charlie doesn't get to name a successor. This isn't a private company. There are no shares. He doesn't own it. It's run by the board. It's a nonprofit. Even though all of that is true.
You know, if anything happens to me, you know, Erika's going to be in charge.
That's not his call. Again, that's not his call. It wasn't even his call that he was in charge. That's what everyone keeps missing in this thing. This was not Charlie's organization. It was the board's organization. The board could have pulled the rug out from Charlie any day. They could have fired him tomorrow. Well, you can't fire him tomorrow. He's dead. But they could have fired him on September 9th. It's not his call. Not his call.
Said that to us on the staff, said it to his board. So it wasn't a secret when Charlie was killed what was going to happen next. We all knew that he had been very clear about that.
I don't believe that. Again, I don't believe Charlie, who was meticulous, who planned constantly, who wrote everything down, who took all these notes, who had journals and all that. I don't believe he didn't write down anywhere a succession plan, if indeed he even thought it was his role to have a succession plan. I refuse to believe it. I'm not an idiot. I think you're putting words in a dead man's mouth to justify your decision. And I don't think you believe it, Andrew. I really don't. I would love to see the email where Charlie wrote you, timestamped email from his account, where he wrote you and said, if anything happens to me, I'd like Erika to be in charge. I'd love to see the handwritten note, just like Erika was looking up and picking up, oh, here's a handwritten note that says the kids mean everything to him and this limelight means nothing. Oh, I shouldn't have picked that up and showed it to Glenn back. Sorry, Glenn. I shouldn't have shown you that. I'd like to see where he wrote it down. I'd like to see where the man wrote everything else down. Meticulous note taker, meticulous planner, meticulous journaler. Apparently knew years ago he would die young and die at the helm of TPUSA, and nevertheless, never bothered telling anybody he wanted his wife in charge. Never bothered telling anybody in writing anyway. Only told people face to face. Strange bird he was. Limits to what he was willing to commit to writing. Limits to what he is willing to put in writing. All right. I think I have one more clip. Yeah, maybe two, but I think I can do it in one. I might just have to hit pause in the middle of it. This is a question about the role of, I'll call it the dissident right. They call it the woke right. The role of the dissident right in the current coalition. Is there a role of the dissident right? I think this is a very, this might be the way I want to finish it, actually. I may not want to do the next clip. Two reasons I want to play this clip. One, he asks a question. Can the coalition survive without these people? People like Tucker, people like Candace. Can the coalition survive? Meaning, are we still going to be able to win elections? Again, this is a 501c3. They're not supposed to be worried about elections, but they don't worry about things like laws. Those things don't bother them. So that's question number one. Question number two is, I want you to hear, this is a new side of Andrew. Somebody showed him the pictures. Somebody showed Andrew the Andrew file, because Andrew is sounding a lot like Rob McCoy by the end of this clip. But I'm not going to play it without showing you. I would never do that. Who do you think I am? I would never do something like that.
But I tend to still remain in the camp that, this coalition, if we have any hope of it surviving for the midterms, especially towards 2028.
Again, why is TPUSA worried about the midterms in 2028? You're not allowed to be involved in elections. You're a 501c3 organization. Your job is to educate people on whatever it is. Finances, I think. Economics, you said. I think that's in your charter. I think it's in all your tax documents. We alert college kids about free market economics. We're turning out Milton Friedman's over here, left and right. Austrian economics. Nevertheless, the only thing, sorry, Andrew, I would not have frozen the frame like you like that. Look like you're about to blow a bug. But that's their concern, because they realize that they've been branded as the most important organization in politics. If they come out here in 2026 and lay an egg, is anyone going to trust TPUSA going forward? Because I think that's what's going to happen. I think now that Charlie's gone and now that this boob is in charge and Erika's in charge, I think they're going to go out in 2026 and get slaughtered. It's going to be awful. And you'll figure out why at the end of this clip.
Is it big enough? Is it stable enough? Could it survive if you pushed out Tucker? And I that's a huge question. And everybody's, got a different answer. I don't think that is the right approach.
Why is that a question? Why is pushing Tucker out of the conservative coalition, out of the Republican coalition, why is that even under consideration? Why are we having this intellectual bandying about? Could we survive without Tucker? What? Really? Really? I think Tucker is probably more influential than TPUSA at this point. If podcast ratings are any indication, nobody watches the Charlie Kirk show anymore. It fell out of the top 100. Tucker Carlson's still going pretty strong. Him and his missing semi-truck of nicotine pouches. I
think that interview aside, which I agree was not adversarial enough, and like I said, I told him as much. I still think that Tucker is wildly popular. He has a huge platform and a lot of influence, and there are questions that are being raised about America's involvement with Israel that I think are fair.
I want you to hear this man's talking points on for the next. I mean, he goes on like a 2-minute tirade on this issue. It got so long it was uncomfortable. Like, I kept looking up at the screen thinking, did Mike Huckabee take his spot? Did Rob McCoy come in the room? Is Netanyahu alive, but he's being interviewed by Dave Rubin? It got uncomfortable. And I'm telling you right now, if you guys get slaughtered in 2026, it's the next speech you're about to give right here. Your next little tirade you go on, Andrew, this is what's going to cost you guys the midterms.
I think there are times where it goes too far. And, but yeah, I mean, listen, there's no doubt Charlie, Fuentes and Charlie had a history where they were trying to infiltrate Turning Point. That Charlie didn't like that, didn't like the anti-Semitism, didn't like the Jew hate. I thought it was a brain rot. I agree that it's a brain rot.
No, let me to ask you a question. I don't know who focus group Jew hate. I could have sworn when they started rolling this word out in the last 6 months. That's the first time I heard it was about 6 months ago. They started rolling this phrase out, Jew hate. I did not think Jew hate was anti-Semitism. I thought it was the opposite. Like, I thought it's how they felt about us. Like when they're like, we don't support Jew hate. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. I mean, my goodness, why would I want them hating me? Like, I honestly thought that's what it meant. I don't know who they got in the focus groups to run this phrase by as they started rolling it out. I guess they realized that anti-Semitism kind of lost all meaning, kind of like the word Nazi, kind of like racist, sexist. It doesn't mean anything anymore. But I started hearing people talk about how dangerous Jew hate was. And I was like, you know what? You're right. It is. I'd never really thought about it, but it is a real issue. They do hate us. And then I started listening to the context. I was like, oh, man, I was backwards. I had no idea that's what you guys meant when you're talking about Jew hate. It's clear he's been given a briefing because this is new. This is new, ladies and gentlemen. I was totally lost on that issue when they rolled that word out. The first, I bet 50 times I heard the word, I was like, damn, finally, it's about time. Yes, I hate this. That is an issue we need to solve globally. I had no idea it meant the opposite of what I thought it meant. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not part of this clip. But I heard him say it, and I thought, oh, yeah, I remember when the first time I encountered that word.
Not straight from the pit of hell, and we need to make sure that it does not take root in the conservative movement. It cannot take a root in the Christian evangelical movement as well. And so,
right, I would
all I
argue
can
Tucker is probably the epicenter of that, but
Well,
we can punt that.
I think there is. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think you're wrong. I think, without putting words in Tucker's mouth, or I'm just observing.
Right.
But I do think
I would
there
say
is
listen to his own words.
Yeah, well, I do think there is a concern that the strong ties between the United States and Israel. I'm not saying sort of from me. I'm saying from Tucker's side and from people in that camp, is that linchpin is really the evangelical right. And there's a whole theological debate. We don't necessarily need to get into it right now, between dispensationalism and replacement theology and all of that stuff. So
Why does he sound like Rob McCoy right now? Why is he worried about any of this stuff? I'm almost done with this clip, and then I'll be done with the whole interview.
There are actually, it's okay to disagree about dispensationalism and replacement theology, but when it devolves into the scapegoating of Jewish people, that's where we actually have to just purely draw the line. Our Savior, your Christian, was a Jewish man that walked, in Jerusalem and walked in Israel, and so hating Jews is just a dead end. It's an evil ideology and brain rot, and we have to snuff it out. We can.
He's just throwing every talking point he could think of in there at the end. Guys, I got bad news about the midterms. If this is the message you guys are taking into the midterms, it's over. If this is the message the Republican Party takes into 2028, good night. Say hello to President Gavin Newsom. Say hello to Vice President Ocasio-Cortez. It's not a winning message. Not a winning message. It's not a winning message. And it's not because people are racist or people are bigoted against religions and all that. It's that people are focused on things like, hey, gas prices got really high here recently. Can we get those down? Hey, have you noticed the electricity prices keep creeping up as they keep building these data centers? Are we subsidizing big data by paying more for our electricity? My power bill used to be $200. Now it's $300. That $100 goes a long way. That might pay my kids' lunches at the local high school, but I can't pay that anymore because the power's gone up because they built a giant data center in the neighborhood. Can we get that addressed? Hey, our roads are still horrific. Our airports are a disgrace globally. I mean, American airports are like the ghetto of airports. Hey, do you know what I got on the healthcare marketplace? Do you know what a family of 9 or 10 costs to buy health insurance through the marketplace? And that's if you get the deductible that requires you to pay $7,500 a year out of pocket. You might be $40,000, $50,000 a year deep in premiums, and then you have to pay $7,500 a year on top of that. Who can afford this? Maybe we could address this. Instead of paying $9 per missile to shoot up on somebody else's issue that we shouldn't even be involved in, instead of worried about what people think in their mind about this group or that group, why don't we worry about the basics? Why don't we go back to the basics of politics? Why don't we go back to what Trump ran on in 2016, 2020, and 2024? No more endless foreign wars. Let's worry about the healthcare costs. Let's try to get inflation down. Let's try to get gas prices under control. Let's try to get your healthcare prices under control. Let's try to get our infrastructure rebuilt back out so that we're respectable. You know, there are people who get water through wooden pipes still, like major cities. They have wooden water pipes. That is their water main. It's wood because it's from like 1925. You don't believe me? Look it up. It's real. That's a real thing. A respectable first world country would replace that before we would shoot missiles overseas on a war we're not supposed to be involved in. For like 5 missiles, we could fix a whole city's water. For like 25 missiles, we could probably upgrade each one of our airports. This is why we're going to lose. Because you know who recognized this? You know who was trying to win hearts and minds on this very issue? Charlie. That's why he was frustrated with it. I don't think he was frustrated with it because he hated Jewish people. I don't think he was frustrated with it because he hated Israel. I think he was frustrated with it because it was taking priority over America, which is, this is where we live. Maybe he was tired of getting his water through wooden pipes. Maybe he was tired, as he traveled through all the airports, of them looking like the ghetto. Maybe he was tired of driving down the interstate and having potholes every 25 feet. Maybe he was tired of sending his kids to schools that are crumbling. Maybe he's tired of his kids his kids maybe not, but other people's kids bringing home school books that are 14 years old and falling apart and duct taped together. Maybe, just maybe, we could save some of this trillions of dollars we spend on global conflicts every decade. And it is trillions. And we could reinvest it back here at home or just give it back to the people. And if you think it's a winning issue to run on that problem you were just discussing, you're going to get slaughtered. You're going to get slaughtered. I know a lot of really good Republicans will go either sit out or go vote for the Democrats if that's going to be your primary issue. If that's going to be your primary issue, if that's the number one issue leading, you're going to have a hard time convincing people to show up to vote. You just are. You just are. Because you can tell us all day long you're going to fix some of these things. You can tell us all day long you're going to come after it and you're going to try to solve these issues. You're not. If that's your message, you're not. You know how I know that? Because that's been your message for the last 40 years. And it's not getting fixed. It's not getting fixed. And the one guy who ran on that not being his message flipped and made it his message as soon as he won. So if you want to be in power, if you want to win elections, if you want people going and voting for limited government and small government, and you remember big government sucks, that was the tagline of TPUSA for like 15 years. If you want to run on that, on the big government sucks, you got to leave that other stuff out. Because as soon as you start leading with that other stuff, everybody realizes you're full of bull butter. You're just full of it. You're full of it. We don't believe you. We don't believe anything you say when you go to that message, because that message is bankrupting this country. It just is. I'm sorry, it is. Everyone I hear talking like that bankrupts this country. Those were the people voting to do all these foreign wars for the last 40 years. That's your John McCain. That's your Lindsey Graham. That's your Ted Cruz. And I'm sorry. When I hear you lead with the message that Andrew just closed with, when I hear that that's the key message, that's your big issue, that's the problem, you're going to kick Tucker out of the party on that? Tucker of limited government fame, Tucker of basic pro-American conservative values, you're going to kick him out of the party on that one issue? Are you serious? You're going to kick Candace out on that issue? You're going to disregard all the pro-life messaging from Tucker and Candace. You're going to disregard all the small government, low taxation messaging from Tucker and Candace. You're going to disregard all the pro-American, bring the jobs back home messaging from Candace and Tucker because you disagree with them on one single issue that doesn't change a single American's daily life at all under any circumstance ever. If that's going to be your lead messaging, I hope you lose. I hope you lose if that's your lead messaging. If that's the message we're taking into 2026, I hope we get slaughtered. And I hope we never lead with that message again. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I've been listening to it for 46 years of my life. It's been the one sacred cow nobody's allowed to look at. I'm looking at it. I'm tired of it. Tired of it. Because that sacred cow leads to the death of millions of people, leads to the expenditure of trillions of dollars, leads to the complete malfunction and disruption of entire ways of life over entire countries, over an entire region. It leads to waves of migrants fleeing their homes, their home countries that they've lived in for centuries. It leads to millions of people migrating, not because they're evil, not because they want to suck off of some system in Germany. They just want to live. They don't want to be bombed while they're in their sleep. They don't want their kids bombed on their way to school or at school. So they leave. That's what that mentality has led to. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I did not intend to get this worked up tonight. Did not intend to get this worked up tonight. But I cannot in good conscience continue walking in and pulling the lever for people who talk like this. I'm not voting for my congressman ever again because he talks like this. I will never vote for him again. And I voted for him last time. And I voted for him last time because he was the outsider insurgent candidate. And he ran against the woman who was the darling of the local state house. I'll never vote for him again. Gets in office and immediately starts talking about Zion, blah, 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 blah. Just sound like Mike Huckabee Jr. So go sign your kids up for war, bud. I don't want mine going. Not for this. I'll wait till there's an actual threat to the homeland. I'll wait till there's an actual threat here. And don't tell me, well, if they're going after our bases in the region. Get the bases out of the region. What are they doing there? I don't live there. That's not our country. Get them out. Bring them home. Close them all down. Let them work it out, and the strongest man will survive. Maybe it might lead to waves more migration, but guess what? It's happening anyway. All right, I got to stop. I'm getting too worked up. Too worked up. All right. Let me read some of your comments. Let me roll through some of these. I was a little frustrated there for a few minutes. I'm predicting you had a great opening. Oh, I did. Oh, this was before, obviously. I'm excited to be amongst a community I can relate to, folks I recognize in content I just can't seem to get enough of. I have to give thanks to Baron, Coach, and Candace. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, I love you too. January 23, Vance, Ohio Senator. January 24, or July 24, Butler, PA. July 2015-24, Trump announced J.D. Vance as his running mate for the 2024 election. Third term was promise and threat. Silicon Valley deep state did not expect Trump's 2016 win. Dom, you put so much into each comment, I don't always follow it. But I appreciate it. Thank you for all your hard work. You continue to pour in this investigation for Charlie and for the amazing show you provide us with. Not too shabby for a 70. I'm only 67, man. If Coach Colin is to be believed. Tailback Vance from start with largest Senate donation at the time. Also lived in Ohio, just EK, insert AZVC, formerly in. See, I don't know what all that means. Like, Dom, you're getting, there's too much there. I know Peter Thiel supported Vance. He's a tech bro. I don't know what also lived in Ohio means. Did Thiel live in Ohio? And I don't know what just EK means. Just Erika Kirk? Insert AZVC. I don't know what all that means. I wish I did. Thoughts on Thomas Massey? Only one staying to fight. I think Thomas Massey most of the time has pretty good politics. I've not followed his career incredibly closely, honestly. I've seen the dust up here lately. I thought he did yeoman's work on the Einstein files. I don't think we would have him without him. So, you know, if the choice was between Thomas Massey and some unknown outsider, I'm taking Massey. If the choice was between Thomas Massey and somebody who talks like Andrew Kolvet was talking at the end, I'm definitely with Thomas. I'm so sick of it, guys. I'm so sick of it. Tonight will be Donna's turn. We had Harvey Monday. Good luck, Harvey. You know, at some point, Donna's just going to check out. She's out there gallivanting around town. That'd be the power play. Let Harvey go 2 or 3 times before she responds. Donna, do you need help? I'll be happy to walk you through how this works. Shannon Kent was 35 with 2 toddlers when she was blown up. All of Joe's critics should go through that before saying anything. Walk a mile in his shoes. Yeah, I tried to point that out. You need a sparkle hoodie. I need a gold sequin hoodie. Do they make those? If I could get a gold sequin hoodie, I would wear one. But I'm afraid the fireworks will start a fire in here. I've got a lot of sound dampening stuff on the walls. And I worry that it would. Oh, yeah. Dog. That looks good. I would look better in it than she does, by the way. Look at that. Look at that. Call me Barrica. Barrica Coleman. That's dope. Yeah, at least we know it exists. At least we know we could get one if we need one. Tomorrow I'm going to a lecture by Eric Klein. When do you believe built the pyramids? Do you believe Christopher Dunn's Giza power plant theory? I do believe the power plant theory, but I think they're older than we think. I would guess 12,500-ish years ago, if I had to guess. That would just be a guess. I would take as new as 10,000. This 4,500 years is nonsense. Totally nonsense. Congrats to my home state, Arkansas, for sending TPUSA packing. That was amazing news. God bless you, Baron, Daisy, and Mod Crew. Always praying for our amazing community here. Yeah, thank you. Charlie said they were going to kill me. Also, Terrell Farnsworth said they killed him. The real question is, who are they? The murderers. Oh, we're back with more from Dom. More stuff I won't understand. Let me dig in. AZVC is Phoenix-based capital firm established 2022 by Selby, PayPal Mafia member and managing director at Teal Capital, dedicated to investing in early-stage tech startups located in AZ and non-Costa Rica. Okay, so now I understand what you're talking about. I didn't know what AZVC meant. Now I got it. Asking again from Monday night's show timeline, can you please play the short 3-minute video by our music media called A Love Story parody? Trust me, you'll want to stop and comment because it fits in perfectly with your FedSlop timeline. Thank you. I'm not going to, I haven't talked to this person. Again, commentary and art are different. They're treated differently. And I don't, unless I know the person or they say, oh yes, please play my stuff. I don't want to do that to somebody. But thank you for that contribution. And everybody go listen to it for $50. Advertise away. Everybody go listen to A Love Story by our music media. For y'all still wondering about Butler, PA, read Exodus 21:6. It was a requirement. Think of Cyrus the Great. Exodus 21:6, Cyrus. Oh, you talking about piercing the ear? I mean, that would require him to have actually pierced his ear. His ear looks fine to me. You zoom in on new pictures of Trump's ear, and it looks fine. Evander Holyfield still has a hole in his ear. DJT, not so much. Sporting my high IQ sweatshirt from my favorite podcaster tonight on what will probably be the last bit of cool weather here in Texas. I love it. Keep up the good work. Hey, so I don't know how you found out about the store. Store exists. It's up. It's running. Let me tell you about the merch, though. I've got to connect it to a website, and I'm having trouble with that. I'm not very technically inclined on things like that. The inimitable Daisy may be able to help me out with that. But we're working on other stuff today. So maybe tomorrow we'll get that done. It's everything's ready to go. Just got to connect it to the website. The last piece of business, ladies. Serious business. Baron, how does it feel knowing you, Candace, Ian, etc., may go down in history books due to mass awakening y'all are creating for this and future generations? Y'all will be studied. I doubt anybody's studying me anytime soon. Candace will be a piece of history. There's no doubt about it. Ian has the potential to be a piece of history. The stuff Ian's working on is just incredible. particularly on the app side. He's creating something big. He's not just in the content business anymore. He's in the business. Blessings to you, Baron, and all the special people in your life. Thank you for all you're doing. You are my new Rush Limbaugh. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's a unbelievably high praise, but thank you. After hearing the amazing story of Joe Kent's patriotic history, to hear him be called weak by POTUS made me sick. Is he captured or is it all ego? Look, I don't think Trump thinks he's weak. I don't think it's a captured situation either, though. I think Trump gets hurt when people turn their back on him and he lashes out at them. Hey, he's done this forever. He doesn't like it, and so he's going to lash out. Thank you for all you do to get to the truth. Have you read the book Defending the West? Are we almost at that point again? I have not read the book, so I can't comment intelligently. I don't know what point the book suggested we would get to. Does Lance have an official alibi for where he was during the Big Bang? Suspect he was involved in spoofing TR's number or had his phone? He doesn't, that I'm aware of. I think he claims he was back home, but I don't know that that's officially a claim he makes. Maybe people have made that claim for him. I will say this. Remember the radio dispatches claiming somebody with shoulder-length hair. And then the images the Daily Mail gave us of him with shoulder-length hair. Good class. Nicely done. Nicely done. Nicely done. Well done. You guys are sharp. Thanks for what you do. Please pray for me as I press charges against my dad, who intimately assaulted me and wanted to honor unalive me for speaking up against it. Well, 100% will say prayers for you. That sounds like nothing any child should have to go through. Child should feel protected around adults, and I'm sorry you did not. I noticed those Canuck bucks. I hope your government takes it seriously. I don't know much about the Canadian legal system. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you too. Just me and my angel. Thank you. Are you anyone going to the Catholic event tomorrow evening? Candace is going. I am not going to go. I, as late as last night at like 10 o'clock, was unsure if I wanted to go. But I'm not going to go. I'll be here tomorrow on air, probably earlier because of the obvious hole created by Candace's loss. Or not Candace's loss, the loss of her not doing a show tomorrow. It'll allow me to go a little earlier, so I might be going as early as maybe 5 tomorrow. I try not to go before 5, even when she's not here. But it'll allow us to meet a little earlier and get to bed a little earlier. But I encourage people to go. If you are thinking of going, it's going to be a great event. John Yep's a great guy. Candace, Matt Walsh, Carrie Prejean, and others. There's some great speakers lined up. It's going to be a great event. It's not going to be a political rally. I talked to them about that when I was thinking of going. I was like, I don't want to do a political rally under the guise of religion. I think it's tacky. And they assured me that was not going to be the case. But that's not why I'm not going, because I fear that it will be one. I can't I cannot make it work with my schedule. I've got too much going on here in the weeks coming up that the travel just wasn't going to work. But I encourage people, if you're thinking of going, the Catholics for Catholics is the entity. You'll find it online. Google it. You'll find it. I think tickets are fairly reasonable for what you get. Christ is King indeed. That's correct. Oh, last time during the show, Roll That Beautiful Bean footage gave me $50 because he couldn't figure out the memberships. I did that, but I'm not going to do that again for anybody. So don't give me money and tell me to gift memberships. But I did it last time. The reason is I forget. And had somebody not texted me, I would have forgotten. Whitney reminded me. I'm thankful for her for reminding me. But I would have forgotten, and I don't want to keep money that was intended for somebody else. So don't do that. But I did do that earlier. So 5 new members on Roll That Beautiful Bean footage. People were giving me credit earlier, and it wasn't me. It was him. So I want to make sure he got the credit for that as well. But we got 5 new members. We'll have a members show Friday. It'll be fun. I've talked to somebody about being a guest, and I think it'd be a good guest if we can get that person to commit. It's somebody I really want to interview. It'll be a lot of fun. Somebody I've talked to several times, and he's great. He's great. So interesting. And it's someone you'll know. Someone you'll definitely know if you pay attention to this space. So interesting. You're talking about Hughes Aircraft. My dad was a supervisor there. My dad said he'd only seen Howard late at night. My sister worked at Northrop in the White Room. Such way back memories. Christ is King. You know, the only person I'd ever heard that worked for Hughes Aircraft Company, the guy who founded CrossFit is the guy named Greg Glassman. His dad worked for Hughes Aircraft Company, and he talks about it all the time. He had tremendous respect. Glassman had tremendous respect for his old man. And And so when I was reading the story and prepping for the opening, and I saw the Hughes Aircraft Company connection, even though it was after the RFK assassination, I wanted to include it. It's kind of a nod to Greg. I like Greg Glassman. I can't help it. I like him. He's a great guy. God is in my life, but I'm not in a specific religion. I have a low IQ religion. I wouldn't say that. I've noticed when people say Christ is King, you reply with Christ is King indeed. Is it required to reply with indeed, or is that just that's just how I say it? There's no requirement. But he is. And I just like to give it back to him. I don't think there's any required response to anything anybody ever says, is there? I mean, there are responses during church when they say, the Lord be with you, and you say, and with your spirit. I mean, there's a back and forth, but even then it's not required. You can kind of sit there like a bump on the log if you want. You may have covered it by the reading of this super chat, but what are your thoughts on the Be Better bids? EK spending over $1,000 on a tracksuit on 9/11. It's a little weird. I wasn't going to cover it on the program. But what she's talking about is there's somebody that works at this company called Allo. I'd never heard of ALO. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Allo. Got Erika's order history and publicized it. And apparently there was an in-person purchase in Salt Lake City at the mall at like 10 or 11 a.m. the morning after Charlie Kirk was taken out. And it was Erika's account name and number and order history and all that. And it raised the suspicion that Erika was the one who did it. I wasn't going to cover it because I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was Erika. I don't know if Erika called in an order and said, hey, I need some clothes. Here's my size. I want some pants and shirt. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not going to draw any conclusions based on that. That's just, there are legitimate lines of attack on this woman for being deeply dishonest, misrepresenting her past, and potentially being involved in some really suspicious behavior. Buying tracksuits is not something that interests me. Frank Turk creating the intended narrative on interview with Laura Lynn, Tyler Thompson last night while dodging question of significance. I believe you. I'm probably not going to watch that. Edge. Good thing I had my seatbelt on last night when Candace closed with, we kind of all think you killed him. She said it. Yes, so proud of her. Her onions, in my opinion, you've made her stronger and being number one. I don't know if I've made her stronger. I will say this. I think had Candace had to go it alone, meaning Ian hadn't jumped in, I hadn't jumped in, Coach hadn't jumped in, people online like Ryan Matta, Project Constitution, Trigger Smart, others hadn't, and I'm leaving people out, Blake Bednar's, I'm sure I'm leaving people out. But if other people hadn't jumped in to investigate the narrative, to investigate the who killed Charlie Kirk, how did they do it, and why, it would have been a very lonely road for her to hoe alone. But I think having a little support, having a little, it's crowdsource. Like this audience, this show brings stuff to the table that enhances, maybe refines her efforts a little bit. And she certainly brings things to the table that we then run down and investigate and look into a little deeper. And I'm telling you, we got some, if we can nail them down, we got some cool facts coming up that are really going to, I think, illuminate some key movements before and after the Big Bang. Do you have the video of Phillips attaching Mike to Charlie Kirk? I do, yeah. Mike attached inside shirt, yeah. Not usually done that way. That's not true. It usually is done that way. I saw it once, not deleted everywhere. It's not deleted everywhere. I still have it. I just don't see much value in it because it's the standard. I mean, you watch any of his old videos, his mic was mic'd that way. So I don't draw a lot of conclusions about it. Maybe the timing was a little different in that they did it just before he went on. But when you watch old videos, he always seems mic'd up that way. Baron, I don't care. We don't care that you're human. We do not require a producer. Oh, thank you. Thank you, because I can't afford one. We sincerely enjoy the experience, detailed info, blunders, but most of all, the warm ending. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you too. Jennifer Chance from the Saddle. I don't know what that means. We adore you, Baron. I've been here since October, but I haven't heard an opener on One-Eyed Teddy Bear, Roosevelt. Have you already done one on Bull Moose? My dogs are named Teddy and Truman. I'm a history geek. May the Lord be with you. You know, I haven't. Teddy's my favorite president. And the problem with that is I would have trouble getting it. I try to keep the openings under 2,000 words, usually even under 1,500 words. I've done some as many as 3,000, and they just take too long to write, frankly. I would have trouble doing a Teddy Roosevelt opening under 2,000 words. I thought about an opening. You know, Teddy Roosevelt had a cool, not a cool story, but it's a very touching story. You know, his first wife and his mother died within like 24 hours. And his journal entry is public. You can see his journal entry from that. He was a meticulous journaler. Wrote down everything he ate, wrote down everything he did, meticulous journaler. He would sit down at night before he went to bed. He would recount his day. And on that particular day, I've read that page, and it just has an X. And it says, the light has gone out in my life. And it was such a human response, such a human moment. Teddy Roosevelt worshiped his mother. I mean, worshiped his mother and loved his wife dearly. And I cannot imagine. He had a very troubled childhood. Not troubled meaning he got in trouble, but troubled meaning he was sick a lot. He had terrible asthma. Maybe that's why I'm so drawn to him. And you know, his mother kind of got him through all of it. And his wife sort of took over the mothering role to some extent when they got married. And I can't imagine the pain he felt that day, losing them both within the same 24-hour period. I'm sure the light did go out in his life. So I thought about doing an opening on that one. I think that presidents may not always know what the CIA and others are doing, obviously. Obviously, JFK didn't know. Plots were hidden from Trump during his first administration. Any being hidden now? Probably. Daisy pointed out today, aliens.gov was registered.
What are they about to release?
Sirhan was MK Ultra. That's the rule. I mean, that's the rumor. Jolly West was hired to work on him by his own defense team. Yeah, I think so. Jolly West is an interesting character. I ought to do an opening on Jolly West one day. That'd be an interesting opening. Because he was a key player in many massive events, including the JFK assassination, including what happened to RFK. That would be an interesting opening. Hey BC, 16 months sober today. Congratulations. My 46th birthday. Welcome to the 46 Club, BR Obvious. And welcome to sobriety 16 months ago. Was near death when our Lord saved me with my angel donor. It really can sneak up on you out of nowhere. Please get help if you need and be a donor. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. It's true. We love our humble host. Oh, well, I love you guys. Mary Gutierrez. Keep it casually high IQ for us. Overproduced is overdone. Don't want it. Praise be Jesus Christ. I certainly have never been accused of being overproduced. No one's ever said, you know, that Baron Coleman, everything's just too perfect. I don't trust him. Everything, you know, when he pulls up a video, it always plays. Never plays the sound over him while he's talking. Never looks at the screen and watches a video while he thinks we're watching. Just doesn't happen. That's never been an attack on me. Baron, whenever you put emphasis on the word is, my brain expects you to hear your opening statement. That is your opening statement. Next, here is, this is, multiple times in your last show about TR. Yeah, somebody once commented on the way I say the word what. I'll say what. And they said it was rather unique the way I would say what. Never heard it about is, but now that you say it, I do kind of say that. Joe resigned with dignity, in my view, and told the truth. Ethical hero through and through. I agree. I agree. Joe Kent is a hero. My heart goes out to him and his family. Thank you for highlighting his story. I retired after 28 years on active duty and totally agree with him. Christ is king. Thank you for your 28 years, Hope. It's a long career. What was I doing 28 years ago? 28 years ago would have been what? 1998? I was a freshman in college. A long time ago. Actually, yeah, I was a freshman in college 28 years ago today. What do I win? I'm still new. You walked away because you didn't want to stay. You broke my heart. You tore me apart every day. I wait for you, telling myself our love was true. But when you don't something start to flow, that's when I know I have to let go. Oh, Harvey. Harvey, I knew it was going to come to this at some point. I'm sorry to say it, brother. Your love has become unrequited. It sounds like it. I'm not going to speak for Donna. Maybe that poem won her over. I recommend iambic pentameter if you're going to write a love poem. It worked for the Bard. Put Joe Kent on your wall to replace President Bone Spurs. President Bone Spurs. I'm leaving it blank, guys. I'm leaving it blank. Please share the video I took from above Charlie's tent. I think it would help others to get another angle. At least I hope it could help. Tell me to kiss off if I'm rude. I just want to help. Helga Shabalaba Ding Dong. Thank you for that. I have not shared it out of respect because you didn't tell me to share it or you didn't tell me I could. I've watched it many times. I do wish you'd held that angle just a minute longer because there were some people moving and working under that tent when you were there. And I was trying to get a timeline of when that was based on the Life is Driving video so that we had a different angle of what was going on back there. And you kind of moved away right at a key moment. But I know you didn't know it was being recorded for posterity. You didn't know it would be, I get it. I'm not saying anything. I thought your interviews with I don't know if if it was a kid you knew, but you were talking to somebody about their experience. I was fascinated by that. So I may play those. Thank you. Mark Dice sells liberal tears mugs. Jesus loves you. I like Mark Dice. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Can't discuss Kirk in his Tucker interview. Confirmed he was blocked by the FBI. And he confirmed that there were strings that needed to be investigated further regarding foreign involvement. I agree with Joe Kent. I do intend to watch the Tucker interview with Joe Kent. I actually couldn't find it. I thought it was going to be on at 5:00. And I was going to have Candace on one channel and Joe Kent on the other. And I couldn't find it. So I'll have to track it down. Baron, I think Ben's eyebrows are part of the humiliation ritual. Keep speaking the truth. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I tend to agree with you. I think they've told him, hey, thank you, Veiled Reckoning. I think they've told him you got to grow them out. Like it's like putting men in skirts, in movies. We can't really put Ben in a skirt. That's not going to make a thing. But if we grow his eyebrows out, Ben's eyebrows are like the sheriff in Scary Movie 3's. Hat just got bigger and bigger every time the camera points. I remember that. That's been a long time. Test. Passed. Joe Kent, patriotic and romantic, hill to die on. Joe Kent will get more support than criticism. I agree with that. Grammar request done for all possible K9 EODs, 910, 912. Are you asking me or are you telling me? I've not done. I was explaining this to somebody today on the phone. I'm very cautious with the grammar requests I file because I know they keep track of how many people file, and I don't want to get a reputation for over filing because then they start looking past you. So I have encouraged other people to file them. If you think there's a grammar request that would help this investigation, please by all means file it. If you get it filled back, put it in the hands of a podcaster. I don't care if it's me, Candace, Ian, anybody. Get it in the hands of somebody who can publicize it and get it in front of people. Boise Jack, I thank you. I got $100 on EK having more notches on her bedpost versus Joe Kent since they both became widows. Ooh. Them strong words. Wow. Interested in your thoughts on 2022 Depp versus Heard? I don't really have any. I didn't follow that case very closely. Mortal event impersonations. I can't stand his voice. I used to like it when I liked him. It's amazing that if you like someone, their voice becomes endearing. If you don't, it's just grating. Baron, watch Redacted, recent episode with Colonel Tower Watkins. It's about the war and very enlightening. You should have her on your channel. Well, thank you for the production request. I'm listening at the moment and wanted to pop on here to tell you all, yes, I'm clipping that. Oh, no. Mark Levin's going to be famous. Fleet's great. Her stuff's amazing, by the way. The Fed slop video actually had me laughing out loud. I know people say that all the time. LOL this. I actually laughed out loud at the Fed slop video. That one got me. If you don't follow AdFleet on YouTube, please do. I swear you and Coach do these little skits on purpose just for AdFleet. No, that really wasn't just on purpose for AdFleet. But I might start. I might come up with I'd have to write one out. And then it wouldn't sound natural. Hey, Baron, I emailed you on 313 about a dream I had of Charlie telling me about an accurate hard copy list of dark things that will happen. A couple days ago, BB mentioned a punch card list. Thoughts? Yeah, my thought was Charlie Kirk one of the two names that were scratched out? You know, he talked about here's a list of names. He got two of them scratched out. Was one of them Charlie? Maybe that's why he didn't want him looking at the list. That's what I thought. But Baron, my 13-year-old son says hi. Howdy. He turned me on to CK and Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, and then you. I do think AK La Guilt is going to be how we find the truth. Thoughts. Now get back to work, Matt Walsh. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. Well, first of all, your 13-year-old sounds brilliant beyond his years. And I think Andrew is the Gary of TPUSA. He just accidentally solves cases. Your Levin is a cross between Marge Simpson and Adam Sandler. It's more like Thelma Simpson. I got to hear mine next to him. I got to hear real Mark and my Mark. I told you I'm not good at impressions. Sir Knight, Baron? I've been knighted? All right, I'll allow it. I'm glad you and Mrs. Coleman had a good night. Your hard, actually, Mrs. Coleman wasn't there. My mother was there. Your hard work, you work so hard and deserve more respect than me complaining that you're not on. Please take it as the highest possible compliment. Opening statement, brilliant. Thank you for that high compliment there at the end. My mom gets tickets to these plays, and sometimes she takes some of the kids. Sometimes she takes my wife. My wife has gone with her several times. It was my turn. I love Back to the Future. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. And my kids love it. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen Back to the Future. Back to the Future and Tombstone are kind of in the running for the best movie of all time, in my opinion. In terms of just sheer entertainment value for me. Now, I'm not talking about production or realism or any of that. Oh, Lord. The micro Mark Levin voice is killing me. You're the best. Christ is King. Indeed. Joe Kent reminds me of why we take plaintiffs to trial over huge settlement offers. Sometimes being heard and standing for something is, in fact, priceless. Yes. I like Joe Kent. Scariest thing is that with all we do for them, we couldn't get Uzrul to stand down. We had zero leverage to keep them to stop, so we had to participate. Well, we didn't have to. They're bombing our bases anyway. Sounds like the inevitable is already happening. Hey B, want to let you know I'm always here. Just been too broke for super chats. Didi, you don't have to. Your listening is plenty. But I enjoy every show. I laugh. I cry. I love this show and this community so much. Thank you as always, B. Keep being you. Oh, I'm not. No danger of me being someone else. The community's great. I love going back and reading through the chats. I try to remember to always mark the live chat, and I'll go back and scroll through your chats as the show's going. Can't wait for ad fleet video of your Mark Levin impression. Mitch Snow sent everything to Joe Kent. $20 says Joe confronted DJT with facts that Philly killed CK and DJT refused to do anything about it. USA's in big trouble, and DJT and his fat ego couldn't care less if he tried. Love RBP, Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I'll be interested to see if they try to silence Joe Kent by going after him, like legally. That would be an obvious next step if you think he is a danger being out there. Ivan, when did we become Israel's Brisnich? We just bent over. Yes, the master makes me so darn mad. Christ is King indeed, and God help us all. Yeah. It's hard to argue with much in there. Unauthorized fireworks. I need a good shot. This is bad WWF acting. You're talking about, I hope you're talking about Huckabee and not your humble host. The video with the huckster. BB's shoes are odd. Must be hard to find nice shoes when you have a host. Guys, is king. Every now and then you guys tickle me. That was one of them. Wow. That was one of them for sure. Every now and then you guys get me. That was funny. Christ is King indeed. Around 18 seconds, weird face guys hand glitches. Also, their dumb dialogue was borrowed from Tyler Robinson. The same person may have scripted both plays. The glee these leaders take in boasting about eliminating other human beings, no matter what the other has done, is shameful. BB looks AI in this to me. He looks AI to me too, but I'm not saying it is. I mean, maybe he's just ugly and they put a lot of makeup on him. I mean, maybe they're hiding the sulfur burns or something, you know, like I got to cake it on because he just got it all over him. It's becoming obvious that Erika, Andrew, et cetera, the at least CIA assets are handlers. The government and nonprofits are sprinkled with agents too, it would seem. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can tell you definitely lived in Boca with that spot on Mark Levin accent. They all sound like that down there. Everyone you talk to in Boca sounds just like my Mark Levin accent. Still catching up on your episodes. I have a 7-year-old and 4-year-old. You reminiscing about your daughter the other day had me at work like, I'm not crying, you're crying. She came in right after that. That was very sweet. I got to see her again today unexpectedly. I walked out of my office and she's standing in my kitchen. I was like, what are you doing here? I love that. I love that. Edge, Mark's voice is the professor, the naughty magician from Frosty the Snowman. I'll take your word for it. I hadn't seen that in a long time. BB wearing, is that a shoe with a suit is a crime? Valentino rolling over in his grave, embarrassed. Huckabee is from Arkansas, threw a fit and jacked up taxes before leaving. I thought he had a tax me more fund. I thought that was his claim to fame. That and he lost some weight. That's what he ran on. I didn't know he raised taxes. BB's list says 2 names are crossed off. Pretty sure one of those was Charlie's. Yeah, that was my thought. Good comment. You and great minds. Go back and look at Mike's legs walking with BB. I don't want to look at Mike's legs. Thank you. Huckabee's face looking at BB is the same way Erika looks while staring at JT Massey. Sex sells, babe. Sex sells. Hey, Baron, I love that green bun streak new look they got you rocking on the cartoon character. Now that's all I see. Love your show. So treadmill walkie time. Chunky Monkey, I saw the green bun, the power bun. And I'll allow it because of the context. But you know those little, I don't know if they're pucks or liquids or whatever they put in toilets, or they used to when I was a kid. And it made the toilet bowl green. It looked like somebody had put me in the toilet bowl and gave me the swirly that Candace said Ben needed. That's what that looked like. Like I had a power bun, and then someone was like, and he needs a swirly. And it dyed the power bun. It matters to all the boomers that are asleep at the wheel. It matters to me. Roger. All right. We got a Dom comment. I gotta dial in for these. One of the first people J.D. Vance called before deciding to jump into politics was Charlie Kirk. Introduced me to some of the people who would run my Senate campaign, and also Donald Trump Jr., J.D. Vance. Yeah, I got that one. Please go back and watch the ear on BB at the end of the video. It morphs and shows the video as AI. Zoom in some when he's talking about Punch Card, please. I'll go back and watch it. I don't want to pull it up right now, but I will go back and watch it. Here's what I would do. Like, I like to troll people. If I was alive and people were asking if I was dead, I would release a bunch of AI videos. And I would make the other side think I'm dead. I mean, I would do the craziest AI videos too. I'd have my face like turn into a lizard halfway through. Like, you know, I'd have me limping all funny. I'd be the wrong height. Have like a 4'9" Baron walking. It'd be great. It'd be great. Why do I think that the couple names scratched off that list are Charlie and Einstein? He also said there's more on it. Can that be Candace, Tucker, etc.? I really think that was intentional threat, AI or not. Yeah, I didn't think about the threat component. That added a new wrinkle. I did think about the Charlie component. I didn't think about Einstein either. But yeah, that's actually, now that you mention it, maybe that's why he didn't want Huckabee looking at it, because there are other prominent American names on it. Yes, I would really like Andrew to see the light, but I think he's way too deep in. Regarding closing holy sites, Mike Huckabee tweets, if not closed, mass casualties. So not a good idea to go up there when it opens. Major false flag opportunity. Yeah, I think the whole thing was basically saying we're going to do a false flag and take this thing out. They want to build that third temple. I'm telling you right now, it will not happen. It will not happen. Don't bet on it on these predicted markets or whatever. You're going to lose your money. Joe said that everyone was thinking out loud. If he wasn't a hero, he is more now. Thank God for anyone with a platform willing to speak the truth, unlike some wormy squires who are increasingly irrelevant. Christ is king. Christ is king. Well, Chris is king. I don't know who Chris is. Chris, you've gotten a raise. You've been upgraded. Chris was like, I was just working at the GM plant. Why'd they make me the king? The whole point about BB's AI videos is that the fact that AI is being trained by all of us engaging with it and we're falling right in the trap. Yeah, it could be. Baron's name is Huckabee. It's amazing our greatest ally expects us to protect them and keep them alive, but they hate us and they think we're equal to cattle. Disgusting. Thanks for all you do. Jesus Christ is king indeed. Yeah. Have you or anyone you know of tried to interview EK's ex-boyfriends? Blessings on you. I have not. You know who'd be good at that is Brandy and Billy. They're good at getting the interview for stuff like that. Brandy and Billy ought to reach out to him. I keep being told I'm going to get a debrief on their meeting the other night, and I haven't gotten one yet. All I get is excuses. Excuses. Why did Andrew tell Candace it was supposed to be her? That was always confused and bothered me. It's kind of morbid, isn't it? Huck didn't give Tuck answer regarding who has right to land. Israel's a people from Shemline. Jesus, not Gov by same name. DNA test is illegal because Ashkenazi are not genetic Jew. Israel Gov has been Ashken. I haven't followed the DNA argument too closely. I know that a lot of people that make hay out of that one way or the other, and it's just not an argument I've ever followed terribly closely. Maybe I'll look into it. Andrew seems like the protective younger brother, his creepy older brother, Blake. Blake is creepy. I'm sorry, he is. Baron, you have the most unattractive lady voice I heard. You're saying I wouldn't be a good trans woman? Hi, my name's Baronetta. You don't want to do that. Now that Candace has learned the Kanye West tweet was orchestrated, do you think it's worth considering Charlie may have been her handler, at least in the early years? Makes me sad to think it, but feels possible. No, I don't think so. I've been running down, when she made the comment that she thought she had handlers after a certain point, I've been running down like who joined the organization about that time. And I've got a couple pretty decent prospects in mind. And I want to talk to her about it. I talked to her this morning briefly, and that didn't come up. We were talking about something else. I'm the one who sent Tilly, or is it Tilly, the puppy couture? Heard you mention it on Sunday's show. If anyone's interested in some pet merch, let me know. Yeah, it was great stuff. So if you want to know, I don't know how you get in touch with people on YouTube, but track her down because it was cool stuff. Thank you for thinking of Tilly. Went to confession today for the first time in over 35 years. I want to thank you for the inspiration. The priest was elated that I was there. There's so many reasons God placed you in our lives. That's an amazing story right there. 35 years. Now, if I had to do 35 years of confession, I would need all of these pages for notes. I go a few months, I need pages. Then I got to make sure I don't leave it behind. But congratulations. Congratulations. Everybody needs to get that off their chest. Congratulations. Wait a minute. The lady voice was in reference to your wife voice imitation. Oh, sorry. Can you go to confession if you haven't done OCIA? Yes. But again, let your priest know you're not Catholic because there's a little difference at the end. The prayer at the end will be slightly different for non-Catholics. But I've never known a priest to turn someone away from confession, Catholic or otherwise. According to Mike H., Israelis respond to missiles like Okies respond to tornado sirens. Wild. Great opener, Baron. Pray for a quiet storm season. We had some tornadoes roll through here the other night. We had 9 people and a dog in a 4-man tornado shelter. It smelled great. My 7-year-old was like, it stinks in here. I don't want to be in here any longer. And I was like, just give us 3 more minutes for it to blow over. And it went pretty close. Realistically, what could be done legally about them abusing the tax code? TPUSA is very clearly involved in political efforts. Almost nothing. I mean, I guess you could file a complaint, but the IRS commissioner has already kind of absolved them somehow. Hey, Baron, the cringe facial expression on Huckabee is so obsequious. Oh, is that Lionel using big words in my chat? half the time I watch Lionel, I have to, like, I have a old school dictionary and I'm like flipping pages as he's talking. Candace mentioned another business that EK registered, ELM. Could it stand for Erika Lori Marie? Isn't her sister's name Marie? L could be Lane. I think ELM, I heard her mention that. We've run this down already. ELM was her modeling agency contact. Like she was her own agency. So on her old websites, if you go to the Wayback Machine and you click on book, like booking, it takes you to an ELM email address. So I don't know if Candace is watching or if one of you wants to email her and tell her that, you know, that's what it is. But if you go to the Wayback Machine and you look at erikafrancevey.com, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, you'll see that ELM is the booking contact. I don't know why I should have told her that by now. Man, we don't share all information, obviously. It's just me. Does Dave Rubin look like he's constipated with hatred? I bet his breath is downright rank. I'm letting that one go. You're not gonna get me making fun of his breath. I'm not biting on that one. No. Some jokes write themselves, and everybody hears the joke, and it just goes right on out. Joe Kent, 2028, go Max. Evening, Baron. Evening. I think Joe Kent would be a compelling candidate. Kent confirming on Tucker that he and the DNI were blocked from investigating CK's case, and the attempt on Trump's life in Butler is so disheartening. I pray we get some form of closure for CK. It is disheartening. I need to watch that. Let's double down on prayers, guys. Our favorite YouTubers need protection. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. All the prayers are welcome for everyone. Baron, can you please close us out in prayer for the safety at tomorrow's Catholic conference? I'm concerned about false flag blaming Muslims like 9/11. I talked to them about the safety. I'm not a big public prayer. I gotta be honest with you. That's not something I do. I mean, I pray, but I don't like to pray in public. And I'll make it awkward if someone's like, "It's your turn to pray." I'm like, pass. And I know it's probably foolish, and people do it, and I probably should just give in and pray when asked. But I talked to them about their security when I was talking about going there. Talked to John Yep, who organized it, and I wanted to make sure it was secure before I was going to go. And he didn't give me obviously the details, but it is very secure. I don't think you have to worry about that. It is going to be a very secure environment. God, through many prophets over many years, rebukes Israel for putting their trust in alliances with other countries for safety. They are in sin. Beware. Wow. I'll let that stand alone. Great AI video of Ayatollah at BB Coffee Shop. Yeah, that was funny. He even did the hand thing. It was great. Look at the size of Mike Huckabee's feet. He must be used to tripping over himself. He has bigger things to worry about. Christ is King indeed. I did not check out his feet. I don't look at Ben's feet. You know what they said? Got big shoes. Big shoes. Behind, but wasn't the way CO ended. September 8 and 10 Alibi series finale statement. A warning to EK. Maybe an alleged pick. Thank you as always for the high IQ content. Go Max. I don't know what she was talking about. I haven't talked to her about how she's going to end her show. So I'm as eager as you guys are to find out what she's talking about. B, I had a feeling earlier when listening to CO, maybe it's obvious, but she will be out of the safety of her home tomorrow, and all of us wanted to be extra cautious when this setting. Thanks for all you do. Again, I can assure you she's going to be safe there. I'm assuming she's going to have security from the airport to there, and airports obviously are usually pretty safe. So I think she'll be fine. I don't think she would put herself in harm's way as a mother of 4 young children. So I'm not worried about the safety component. If you're worried about safety, don't let that be the reason you don't go. Because I can assure you, I don't want to divulge any details, but it's going to be locked down. It's going to be very safe. My grandfather was the chief of surgery and thoracic surgeon on the case of RFK. Really? That's crazy. My grandfather never elaborated much about that experience. I wish I knew to ask more questions while he was still alive. That is nuts. What a cool connection to history. Wow. That's a really cool connection to history. Johnny 2 times. Veronica 1 time. Another banger. You make such good points. I love y'all. Oh. Well, thank you. Very kind of you. Oh my gosh, you're cracking me up tonight. Appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Reject Club America. What's that? I'll be in that club. I've always liked to be in the underdog side. Where in the Bible does it say not to be against widows? It doesn't say not to be against widows. It does say true religion is taking care of widows and orphans. I don't know what they mean. I don't know if they're talking about widows that have $10 million or more. I mean, I think they can take care of themselves. But obviously, if you know a widow, don't leave them alone or whatever. But so I don't take Bible lessons from Andrew Kolvet. All right, can we just be blunt and leave that out there and just put that right on the table? Baron, Baron, what are your thoughts on CK Sack in Pentagram? Plausible? Sent an email on a cult book, crazy stuff. It looks more like a menorah or a home plate to me. But I get it. I mean, it's a 5-sided object. Okay, the eyebrows have to be signaling. They're not signaling, they're migrating. They're molting. Andrew said Erika was a humanizing presence to the donors and politicians while Charlie was on a mission. She had no problem being in the background because she was making connections for the future. Ooh. I just thought he was lying. You're like reading into it thinking, well, what could she have been doing? I was like, he's just lying. She had no contact with him. Maybe she did. Baron, big fan, never missed a show. Had to try the Mississippi pot roast, so I made it for the first time today, and it was delicious. I warned you. I also have the same Catholic Bible study you found at that bookstore you mentioned. Oh, it's right here. It's dope. Way under half price. Yeah. Used bookstore. What a gift. What a gift. We need to make it back over there, see if they have anything else. They had a cool Catholic section. They had a cool Christian section. Not that there's a distinction, but they made the distinction. They had a really cool, political section, a bunch of old political books in there. So I think I want to go back and stock up. But yeah, Mississippi pot roast, jam. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Hi, Baron. When did Andrew say Erika and Charlie met for the first time in the interview you played tonight? Doesn't that go against the official narrative? He said Politicon Los Angeles. That would have been October of 2018. I think that fits in the narrative. Politicon was in Los Angeles in October of 2018. So I don't think that goes against the official narrative. Hi, Baron, you're a legend. Ooh, I've been upgraded. With a capital L? They really do have an excitement for world domination. All they're missing is a cat on their laps. Nothing is antiseptic. Hey. Baron, you're the only person I've ever subscribed to, and I pray Candace's extra caution when proceeding with public events. All please pray for her safety. Yeah, she should be. I think she probably asked many of the same questions I asked when she was agreeing to go. My question, I've been at these events. I know the security questions asked. My security questions were detailed. Not detailed enough to get their specifics, but detailed enough to know if it truly was going to be secure or not. Did you guys catch what Andrew said? I mean, not only Candace, but I think Matt Walsh potentially could be a Carrie Prejean could be a target after what she said. Obviously, anytime a Catholic bishop is present, they're a potential target. So I wanted to know it was going to be secure if I was going to go. Did you guys catch what Andrew said and referred Erika as the asset of Charlie or Charlie's asset? That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. What a weird choice of words to call someone's partner unless there was a motive. I didn't read too much into that. I understand your point, but I didn't read too much into it. Carolina blue? No, man. Or Carolina blue. This is Vatican City ceiling blue. I want to paint the ceiling in this room that color. I kind of feel like I'm outside because I'm in here all day from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night. You paint the ceiling that color. Maybe some wispy white clouds. Those never look good in paint. But if, man can dream. Man can dream. You're the best, FYI. The priest Chad R. from Sean Ryan will be speaking at Spiritual W Conference this weekend. Live stream by going to VMPR. Virginia's most powerful. Pray for us. Done. The priest from Chad Ryan. So that's Father Ripperger. The priest Chad Ripperger. From Sean Ryan, be speaking of spiritual warfare conference. Maybe that's what the W is. I don't know. I will pray for you. What's the deal with Tatum? Total shill. I was a loyal follower of his and been very disappointed with him and his wife since 9/10. They become very defensive. It's a shame. If he knew what they thought about him, that's a shame. But they pay him well. Sure. Virgin most powerful. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say Virginia? Yeah, you said Virginia most powerful. No, we're changing it, huh? I got you. Even scarier than the politicians you named is Tallarico, the heretical preacher, actual wolf in sheep's clothing, doing the devil's work from the pulpit. Is he the one running for Senate in Texas? I guess that's what you're doing. What it looks like. Looks like a little man all excited. For the clip on the Battle Bun Fund. Clip on Battle Bun. I don't need a clip on. I'm growing it out. I'll have a battle bun in no time. I'll just bunch it up right here. It's a little bun. Twisted Thought is BB's mysterious unalive revenge for Charlie. Find time to blame Iran if Trump learned the truth. But Baron, your great stay. Go Max. Actually, you just reminded me of something. There's a picture of me in here from years ago. Let's see if I can find it real fast. I'll show it to you if I can. It is me with a little mini bun, but it's on the front. I don't think I can find it. Can't find it that fast. My hair was longer, and I'm sitting in a radio studio, and someone took a picture of me, and I had it. It was hanging down on my eyes, and I was trying to read, like live read, so I had it clipped up like this, and I turned around, someone took a picture of it. Do you really think the Patsies stay in jail? Yes, I do. I think the Patsies stay in jail because it would be hard to get someone in and out of jail without a bunch of jail workers and fellow inmates going, what the hell's going on? So, yeah, I think they stay in jail. I think most Patsies are probably compromised or voluntary Patsies. They'd rather go to jail for shooting someone than go to jail for what they really do. At least I have the pleasure of voting for Thomas Massey this time around. Oh, you're a Kentuckian. Jerome? I don't even know what part of Kentucky he's in. Thomas Massey. I'm guessing Frankfurt. I don't know. For the last 5+ years, my small circle of trusted friends and family have been on the same page. Now I am the cheese standing alone. They feel this war is justified. I can't get behind it. Then don't get behind it. There's nothing that says you have to agree with everybody on everything. Barron did not tell his priest he would chill. No. I probably should, though. Probably should. If you only knew how funny that was. My priest has told me to chill. Oh, gosh. I hope nobody clips that out and sends it to him. Ted Cruz told me those who press the like button will be blessed. Shabbat shalom, daddy's home. Are we in dire need of likes? We're in dire need of likes. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the program. Share it with your friends. I heard Jesse talking about he's gotten a couple of yellows here lately. I don't know where they kind of tell your show you've been bad. And I got a couple of those here lately too. And so it does hurt your reach. So the audience gets suppressed for a little bit and they don't show it to new people. And then as people like and share and comment and you get new subscribers, they lift it because they think, okay, he's been punished. I got a couple of those here recently. From upstate New York, our electric bill has gone from $200 a month to $600. My family, church, and community is here, but life is no longer sustainable. That's $5,000 a year increase. And you got to make like 8 to pay the 5 because they take taxes out of what you make. Holy mackerel. I can't imagine a $600 power bill, what that feels like. I'm sorry that's happened to you. I'm on 1.25x trying to catch up. Keep going, Max. Christ is King. I will do my best. Good luck. You don't need a gold sparkly sweatshirt. You need an I told my priest I would chill sweatshirt. I'll buy one of those. I'll wear that. My priest will get a real kick out of that. If you guys only knew. He has told me to chill. Not recently. It's been a couple years ago. The idea that humans can control the will of God is the ultimate hubris. Yeah. I will not vote for a Democrat ever in good conscience. However, I will undervote a rhino who's a lying pig, e.g. Cornyn. I'll do everything I can to prove electoral fraud. Well, I mean, your vote is your conscience. I'm not telling you how to. I will not tell people how to vote. I don't do that. People ask sometimes who I'm voting for in certain races, and I'm happy to share it with them, but I don't tell people who to vote for. Super valid crash out. Christ is king. Oh, was that a crash out? I don't like to crash out. Maybe I need to tell my priest I'll chill. Keep going, Max. The truth will always prevail. Christ is king indeed. True age of the pyramids, 12,500 years ago, around the same time as your own Dryas event. Yeah, that's my guess. That's my guess. Man, you might have tuned into a member show to talk about younger Dryas because I have a different view than Randall Carlson and that crew. I have a different view than the Snake Bros. I don't know if you guys listen to that podcast. I used to love it. And then they stopped doing so many episodes. They started skipping weeks and I kind of got out of the habit. But they're a cool podcast duo, brothers. And I've got a different view than mainstream science. And so my younger Dryas view is so different, but it makes perfect explanation of why Göbekli Tepe appeared right after the younger Dryas. I feel so discouraged. I have to remind myself to keep looking up and keep my eyes on God. This earthly crap is really tough right now. Prayers for this entire community. Appreciate you. Wrong. Hey, you should always keep your eyes on God, even when things are going well. That's probably especially when things are going well. When things are going really well, that's when people lose faith. Affluenza, Rush Limbaugh used to call it affluenza. It's real. That's why Jesus said it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Because when things are going well, you start must have done something right. I must be onto something. I must be amazing. That's when you trip. This was barren tonight. Yes, this is what the American people want, need. Absolute truth tonight. What a night with CO and then this. We are worked up. I hope you're worked up. I was worked up. Mike B to Sarah B to Erika. Too much connection. Baby's ears look weird in those videos. 2 ear canals? I'll have to go back and watch it. Money for I told my priest I would chill hoodie. Go back. All right. Now I see why you guys are telling me I need to chill. It's the Andrew Kolvet crash out there. Joe Kent now under FBI investigation. I told you they would try to silence him. Nailed it. Actually, you nailed it. Is he really? Is that true? Is this true? Joe Kent FBI investigation. FBI investigates intelligence aide who resigned over war. Joe Kent under FBI investigation after resigning from counter. Guys, it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And predictable, if I do say so myself. You know, that I will say this. I was once silenced for trying to tell the truth, or they tried to silence me by making false claims about me. A judge rejected them, but it doesn't stop the news from picking it up and reporting it everywhere, and then everybody uses it against you down the road. That's incredible. Huckabee from the Grumblers. Huckabee and Cuz were deep state guys in 2016 election. Huckabee plays bass guitar in band named Capital Offense and was a PDF pen pal, and Cruz is Canadian-born, oil, family money, and Ivy League sheep dip. He is from Canada, isn't he? Ambassador Huckabee stated it would be fine if Israel took all the land stretching across the Middle East. How about we take back our country? Huckabee is ick and he gives no doms, obviously. Yeah, he's icky. There's no doubt about it. Someone was testing. Your test was heard loud and clear. Keep doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. I'm trying over here, people. I wish I could show the Grumbler ones. I gotta figure that out. July 2015, Erika at AZ Trump rally. 2017, Andrew met Erika at Politicon. I think he met her in 2018. I don't think it was 2017. In 2017, Politicon was in Pasadena, not Los Angeles. 2018, it was in Los Angeles. August 10, 18, TPUSA opening with Erika and Charlie intro. October 2021, last Politicon Los Angeles convention. Yeah, I think that last one was the one he was talking about. but I could be wrong. Uncle Barron, Huckabee gets me worked up too. Uncle, I forgot people call me Uncle Barron. It's better than Grandpa Barron. I'm Granddad. I'll be Granddad when the time comes. I think Tucker was live on TC Network, sub required, but it posted 20 minutes ago and now regular free channel. Okay, good. I'll go check that out. That's why I couldn't find it. I wasn't looking there. I thought the response to "May the Lord be with you" is "and also with you." I probably shouldn't say how long it's been since I went. 30 years. Yeah, that confession is going to be nuts. Yeah, so they changed that in 2011, sir. That was 17 years ago. So that changed in, Advent of 2017. In fact, a lot of things changed. It's going to take a little catching up for you. That's okay. But if you're Episcopalian, it's still and also with you. So, God will always make the closing argument. He is the judge and Christ is king. Not all Christians are Catholics. Correct. Not all Christians are Protestant. Correct. Jesus is non-denominational. Correct. Non-demon. Oh. I agree with you. He's not a demon either. I agree with everything you said there. Cowboy Steakhouse closed at 8:30 p.m. September 10th. Tyler would have gotten there after closing time. Yeah, it could be. I mean, maybe if it's a hard closing time, they've got a big explanation to give. If it's a soft closing time, meaning we close at 8:30, but if there's still a bunch of people sitting here and everybody's still in the kitchen and everybody's still going and you walk in, okay, we'll take you $35 for a ribeye or whatever. Or whatever they cost them. Utah. I'd like to go to that Cowboy Steakhouse just for doo-doos and giggles. White RAV4 in sync with the speed of the shooter. I think that was a RAV4. I think you're right. Perhaps we should be verifying AK education. Has he ever listed his education anywhere? I think he has. Maybe he has. No need to stop the rants. I love them, and my fam is put off when I go off on them. LOL, Christ is king indeed. Keep going, Max. I will do so. Watch Indy Niles' doc called Inside Israel's Premier Brainwashing Program. The love of these conflicts is indoctrinated, and this goes into that. Duly noted. I think we all need to pray for Candace and other people in attendance tomorrow. The fact that so many truth seekers are coming together is powerful. Anytime a big group comes together to pray is powerful. Going Joe. Hey, Barron, tell Candace to announce before she comes out. Everyone stand up and frisk the people to the right, left, look up, down, look all around. LOL, no kidding. Bless you all. It'll be safe. She'll be fine. She's going to be safe. I got a brotherly, kind of a protective instinct too. Don't get me wrong. I get frustrated when people attack her. I was asking the questions more for me, but now that you guys are talking about her, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. George Farmer. That'd be awesome. Member show. I have not asked the Queen yet if I may interview her husband. It's on the agenda. I am going to ask. It is my dream interview. I would almost rather interview him than like a president. I think there's so much there. I talked to him for a few minutes when I was at their house, and it was such a fascinating conversation. I don't want to go into it because I don't know what was public and what was private, but it was such a fascinating conversation that I thought, I got to interview this guy. And then it'll all obviously be on the record. He'll know it's being live streamed. So, is it not a notion or an American concept? It is an attempt to guilt us and to leave the gold digger alone. Oh, you're talking about it is not a notion or an American concept. It's an attempt to leave the gold digger. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the more interesting Be Better info was the Vance Kirk 2028 domain names purchase less than 72 hours. I covered that. You don't have to watch Be Better. You can watch B. Coleman. Did you see the clip where Ted Cruz is describing why saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic? These people are so delusional. I did. And I cannot imagine how he genuinely thinks. I don't believe he really thinks that. I genuinely don't believe a Christian can think the man was crucified with the words, Jesus Christ, King of the Jews, over his head. I think we should start saying Christ is King of the Jews. Go Hogs. Denied, TPUSA. Woo pig suey. Tonight I just want to tell you hello, missed you, love you, and Christ is King. I know you need your old man nap soon. I actually had a really good night's sleep last night. Had a good workout today. Great show prep. Got an errand run that I needed to get run. I had a good day. Like today was kill. If every day could be like today, every night's sleep could be like last night, we'd be rolling. Okay, Baron. I'm doing the sit stand exercise. 2 days, thighs hurt. Now to fix these fat fingers. Love your show, Christ is King. So here's about your fat fingers. Not saying you have fat fingers. You did. You can't do finger exercise. That doesn't work. That make them bigger. When you do the sit stand exercise that we've talked about, and if you are not longtime listeners, you probably don't know what we're talking about. My contention is every single person needs to be able to stand up from a below parallel position or a parallel position without their hands. Completely stand up. I did not stand up all the way because I'm attached to this soundboard by headphones. But you need to be able to stand up completely without your hands. Like hold your hands out, hold them up, hold them out to the side, somehow stand up. And your knee needs to be at least at a 90-degree angle, if not slightly below, your hip slightly below your knee. And you need to do it at least 20 times. And as you work up to it, and if your legs hurt, give it a few days rest and then pick back up. But by doing that, you'll strengthen your legs first, primarily, and you'll become less of a burden to those around you as you age because you'll be able to stand up out of a chair. You'll be able to stand up out of a bed. You'll be able to stand up off a toilet. That's a very valuable thing to do as you get older. But also, your thighs and your hammies, as you're building those in your glutes, and it will build them as you're suggesting your thighs hurt. It shouldn't. That's an indication you desperately need to do this. As you build those, your body will start releasing hormones that'll make you younger, make you feel younger. And so that might help your fingers. But you're going to feel better. I promise you. Over time, 6 months from now, you'll be so thankful I've asked you to do that. There's universal health care in every other first world country. UK, Canada, Israel, most of Europe. $40,000 premium on $100,000 income, equivalent to 40% tax. Sad. Yes, I know. It's a tremendous burden, the healthcare cost here. There's a balance, though, because a lot of those people come over here when they need real medicine. So it's our private system allows. You almost need some kind of dual system, and I just don't know how that would work. Look at that. 10 memberships you just gifted? TJ, thank you. It's amazing. Rumor going around Kanab that 30-06 was used in a suicide, and Jimmy talked them out of it being destroyed, did some mods, and gave to Tyler. Would make sense why they're so worried about Grandpa's gun, the serial numbers, and why they got Tyler over the barrel. What's Kanab? I'm going to take a picture of that if you don't mind. Clip that. What is Kanab? I need to look that up. Kanab, Utah? Oh, city in Utah. But why would it matter if it was used in a suicide? Who's Jimmy? I don't know what all these things mean, but thank you, Shete. I will look into that. Email me at realbaronpodcast@gmail.com if you have any more information on that. Tucker's interview is behind a paywall on his website. I couldn't find it either. God bless you and your beautiful family. Well, thank you. I want to give a big birthday shout out to Wolverine316YT. His birthday was a couple days ago. He's a long-time supporter and wants your bad cop hat. I need to talk to Daisy about that. She had that done. I don't know how to do that. It's a dope hat, though. Wear it a lot. Can you please let my amazing wife, Desiree, know this is a high IQ outfit? Desiree, this is a high IQ outfit. And please say hi to my daughters, Skylar and Capri, and my son, Joseph. Keep up the amazing work. Christ is King. Skylar, Capri, Joseph. You guys keep up the amazing work as well. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Edge, Harvey, women do not need more to manage. You seem genuine, but very needy. Stop. Just trying to help. Edge. The man just lost the love of his life. Have some mercy. My goodness. Sorry, Harvey. I don't think it's going to work out well, but it'll be better in the long run. Love. I'm just kidding, Harvey. It may work. It may be fine. Maybe fine. She might have just needed a poem. Love Rosa P, but people never talk about Claudette Colvin. She truly deserves creds for her bravery. Netanyahu has 9 lives now. Blessings always. I think I knew. Let me look this up. I think I remember this. I'm pretty sure I knew her grandchild. I want to make sure that's the right age. Yeah. So I went to college, I think, with her grandchild, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was a great grandchild. I just looked up her age to make sure. Cool kid. Cool kid. Yeah, there's a lot of people that go. I mean, Solomon C., Fred Gray. I mean, there are a lot of people in the civil rights movement that don't get frankly, the credit they deserve. I met Fred Gray. It was a cool experience. Very cool experience. Doesn't make sense about CK wanting EK in charge. If board asked, how much do you know? Ooh. We didn't put those two together. And why would she be so cocky when she said, I know everything? What's your thoughts on a gap year before law school? Asking for my son. Fine with it. Fine with it. I basically took a gap year. My wife and I moved down to Key Largo. We scuba dive, work in a hotel, work in a restaurant, run around the park, get out on the water. I worked on a parasail boat for a little bit. I mean, it was basically a gap year. Totally cool with it. No problems at all. And he'll probably be a better law student because of it. He'll be a year older. News alert, former counterterrorism chief Joe Kent under FBI investigation for alleged classified leaks. Is this an attack because he spoke his mind? Probably an attempt to shut him up, I had to guess. Will a judge charge someone when we find out who? It's a good question. Golden Glitter Hoodie Fund. Yes, I need that hoodie. I got to figure out how to get maybe I'll just have some sparklers. Like that seems, I don't know, man. There's so much expensive equipment around here. I don't know that I want like flames shooting off into the soundboard. That might not end well. I might make that joke, but it might not end well. I think I've seen that story. Thank you for the Golden Glitter Hoodie Fund. You're not naive to how this administration works. Just received notification, Kent under FBI investigation. Yeah, I figured they'd try to shut him up. EK wanted to stay in the background. My son and I watched election results. EK literally threw herself into the limelight that night. Seemed off then. Charlie didn't deserve any of this. Go Max. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. I haven't seen that footage. Maybe I need to look it up. What do you mean by threw herself into the limelight? Like sat down at the table and grabbed a mic? Yeah, that'd be a little weird. I need to get Mrs. Coleman on here. I think we'll do a member show with her. I asked her if she'd do it. She said she wouldn't be she's not a fun guest. I'm like, you're a great guest. Just tell them everything about me. Actually, you can't come on the show. Joe Kent wrote a book. Send me. Highly recommend. Sean Ryan Show interview, August 2024. Praying for him, Candace Owen, and you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We should all be praying for them. Why is Joe Kent now under FBI investigation? Just shut him up. That's exactly why. And happy belated birthday to Roll. That beautiful Bean footage. His birthday was a couple days ago, too. Bean, you'll be a dad on your next birthday. That is true, Bean. I don't know if he's ready. Love the show. Love your mind and humor. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Very kind words. Very kind words. Many of us on the left agree with your rage. I certainly do. I'd rather debate how we get there than give money, American lives to Israel. I'm just tired of giving any money and any lives to any foreign effort. We got issues here. We got 100,000 people a year dying of drug overdose. Let's solve that problem. Like, let's just pick one and solve it. Is the healthcare system? Is it the confiscatory bank rates we all pay to buy a house? Let's solve that problem. I mean, what if instead of spending trillions of dollars overseas, we subsidize bank interest loans? Now, that's like a form of socialism. But if we're going to blow the money, let's blow it in a way that makes people's lives better. You want a home? Your first 10 years of interest are on us. If you sell the house within 10 years, you don't have to pay any interest. If not, your payment will go up in 10 years because you'll be adding interest to it, but you'll be 10 years farther into the workforce. Hopefully you'll have more money. I mean, there's just so many things we could do. If we're just going to blow it, let's blow it in a way that makes our lives better. I'd love to blow it on it could be ubiquitous, like every religion, but good religious education for our youth. They're not getting it. You want to send your kid to a Baptist summer camp? It's on the government. You want to send them to Catholic school? It's on the government. Like, if we're just going to blow trillions of dollars, there are so many things that can improve the lives of Americans. Now, I'm a big fan of just don't collect in the income tax. That right there would offset the trillions of dollars we send. I can't stand Andrew K. I still think he and EK have a thing. Interesting you say that. You're not the only one that wonders that. Keep in mind who I've been talking to. So obvious that Tucker's a CIA operative involved in Operation Limited Hangout. How did he get an interview with Joe Kent so soon? I don't know that that's true. Joe Kent certainly doesn't seem to be on the inside of Intel right now. He seems to be on the outside looking in. YouTube won't let me say Joe Kent. It just did. It just did. Happy 60th birthday, Whitney. You look amazing. I don't think she's 60. Oh, is that an inside joke? The pain on Candace's face tonight was heartbreaking. That was difficult to watch. Yeah, she goes through a lot. That's why I say I get like a sibling type of protection. Like you go after her, it bothers me. YouTube would never censor Tucker like they did Barron. Tucker's obviously CIA. Tucker has a much bigger platform. They give a lot of latitude to really big channels. Live in the same small town in Washington State that Joe Kent lived in before moving to D.C. He's truly a remarkable human. Thank you for all you do. He has to be. He has to be. Look at his life story. Mike Humiliation Huckabee, first sacrificial heifer. Oh, he is a heifer. We love you even if the Phillies don't. I hate the Phillies. I'm a Braves fan. Can't stand the Phillies. Any of them. Metaphorically or otherwise. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a problem with Phillies individually. I have a problem with us making that our sole political issue that matters. Please do a show with Candace. I did do a show with Candace. She offered to do a show with me on my platform. I had to take her up on that. I wonder if I say, hey, listen, Candace, I know you said you'd come on my show since I went on your show. What if I just interview George instead? If she'd be all right with that. What if I interviewed both of them at the same time? That sounds like everybody who has a big platform has ties to the government or intelligence agencies. Barron might get the call soon if his show gets much larger. They'd have to spell my name right, though. If they do it with 2 R's, you're talking about the president's son. That's a different Barron. A different Barron. I'll let you know if I get the call. I'll just come out and tell you. They called me. Now I've got to be a shill. I'm just kidding. Only 501c4s can be involved in politics. Who's investigating this federal crime? I agree with you. And the thing with a 501c4 is only up to 50%. The other half can't even be involved in politics. No, it's 501, not 401. Barron is better than Tucker. Again, only 1 R here, ma'am. But I will allow it. I will allow it because of the compliment. If you were saying Tucker's better, then I'll fight you on it. You must watch Tucker's interview with Kent tonight. Go to 159 minute in, 159 second, 1 minute, 59 seconds in. Talks about Charlie Explosive. I will. I'll be on it like white on rice. Am I allowed to say that anymore? Fun Catholic fact. Virginia on one side, Maryland on the other. In the middle, Shrine of Immaculate Conception. Oh, that's interesting. But I don't think that's the Virginia they're talking about. I think the Virgin was the queen, wasn't it? Who is the state of Virginia named after? Yeah, it's named after Queen Elizabeth I. But it's close. I can't imagine how much pressure Matt will face from Ben after tomorrow's event. I'm sure Fleets will provide us with a full picture of what will happen. Boy, can you imagine how much Ben will be telling him to give? I'm not going to do it because you guys will think I'm doing it for Fleet. But man, that whip's going to be just roaring when he gets back to the office. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. I love that clip. Love that clip. Thank you for everything you do. God bless you. Well, God bless you. Thank you. Do you think Trump's no new wars approach during the election was really a tactic to get more people to sign up so he had a bigger army because he knew what was to come? Could it have been a setup? Maybe. I mean, that'd be diabolical. They couldn't do any sort of investigation for who killed Charlie, but they're investigating one of our military heroes. Shameful. Yeah, that's a good point. Please check out Kent's current wife and who she's associated with. Love your opening statement. 100% agree with many Patsies being used. Price is king. I know she's a Democrat. But I don't. All I'm seeing is his old wife. Joe Kent, current wife. Heather Kent, veteran of Afghanistan and Iraq, previously married to Senior Chief Petty Officer Shannon Kent, U.S. Navy cryptologic. Oh, that's his old wife. I'll have to look her up off air. Oh, Heather Kaiser. She's a graduate of West Point. Looks pretty normal. Served for years, Afghanistan and Iraq. Worked as a military intel officer. Worked in a few places she's not allowed to reveal. Never mind. Wrong, Indiana. Graduated from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Photography assistant. I don't know who am I supposed to know that she's connected to. She's an artist. Seems pretty tame. Speaking of confession, I keep remembering things that I don't know if I confess. This weekend, priest banned me from confessing any more old things. I'm covered. OCD's going crazy. You got to learn the blanket approach. Name the 5 big ones and then just say, I'm sure there's others. And I can't remember them. That's when the line's long. You know, when you got 13 people waiting in line and there's only like 12 minutes left, rapid confession. First time catching the live feed. Don't do that, by the way. First time catching the live feed. Look forward to catching up every night at work. Thanks for all you do. Hey, thank you. Cowboy Steak is listed as LGBTQ friendly on Google Maps. Drifting off tragedy. It was friendly that night. After this, please go to Cover's comments, trolls. I believe you. Wasn't AK Education Liberty U? Candace to the show? Probably. George Farmer might be MI6. I mean, might be, but I doubt it. We need Going Joe merch. Love the show. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Candace mentioned it's time for George interview on her show yesterday. Get in there. Yes. I'm getting in the game. Put me in, coach. Candace. I think my noise gate might have stopped that knocking from going out over the air, but I heard it. It was light. Thank you. Good. Now's the time to ask. Now I can say, hey, I heard you mention it on the show. I've been dying to interview him. I've been keep telling my audience I want to interview him. Gotta swing by the house and interview him. Use your studio because it's prettier than mine. Every Christian denomination is under the umbrella of Catholicism. Well, one approach. Voted Republican first time in 24. I'm 48. Cried the whole drive to the poll. I didn't know why. My daughter and hubby just had third baby in January. He just left for the Middle East. Third tour. Please pray. Oh, man. I will. I would be so devastated to leave with 3 kids at home. Love my Catholic brothers and sisters. Love my Presbyterian brothers and sisters and others that believe Jesus. Nothing. Everything. Much love. Respect from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, we're supposed to love everybody. We had a priest where I used to live. And there was a Catholic school. It was a mission school. And I just asked, I wasn't like judging, but I was like, how many of these kids are Catholic? And he was like, none of them. I was like, well, isn't that weird? And he's like, no, we educate them because we're Catholic, not because they're Catholic. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Hi, Baron. I'm in the UAE, and we had a horrendous night as there were attacks all night targeting oil fields and vital locations. We're all thwarted, thank God. All were thwarted, thank God. Please keep us in your prayers. I don't think you're supposed to be saying that. They have really weird rules about, be very cautious sharing information. Those Gulf states have very strict rules about sharing information out of war zones. So please, please, please be cautious. Hope you're using a VPN or something. The Bella Stella. But thank you for that generous contribution. I don't know what an AED buck is, but thank you. Turned up red. Greetings from Australia. I'm listening to your amazing podcast. Whilst working from home. You Commonwealth people love saying whilst. They get me through the day. Keep up the great work and getting to the bottom of what happened to CK. God bless. God bless you. Thank you. Small white box van pulls in next to Tyler as white SUV pull behind Charger and both pull out of the parking lot 29 minutes after shooting. Could it be the van in the neighborhood? I don't know if it's the van in the neighborhood, but I did also draw in. I don't know if I said it on air, so I don't know that I want to say it on air, but I drew keen interest on that small white box van. Free Palestine. I mean, that'll get you banned. Thank you for your prayers. Legal system in Toronto is crappy. The officer's victim blames sometimes, but I am feisty and God protects me always. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Hubby deployed today to Iran. Toddlers are sick and my 17-year-old cat is declining fast. Please keep us in your prayers. There's a lot to deal with at once. I'm sure it is. I'm sorry you're dealing with all that, by the way. And we'll pray for his safety. I hope he comes home soon. I hope they end all that soon. And it ends. Guys, the time is nigh. I appreciate you joining me. We've had a lot of fun tonight. And it was a little heavy show at times. I don't intend to be that way, but sometimes it happens. It's been known to happen. But I thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. I hope you've liked it. Oh, our likes are so low tonight, guys. Kick it up a notch. This is ludicrous. Hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Pick a spot you like, scroll back, find the timestamp, and send it out and say, hey, watch it at 1 hour and 12 minutes and 35 seconds. You'll love it. That's to me, that's an effective way to share podcasts that I like with people. I do it quite frequently. So, but I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful evening. I will be back live tomorrow, probably earlier, if I had to guess, probably more in the 5, latest 6 o'clock range tomorrow night. And then probably do a member show Friday, if I had to guess, member show Friday. So members, get ready. You're going to like it. You're going to like it. In the meantime, do not forget. Don't you ever forget. Ever forget. Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful night. And we will reconvene roughly 18 to 20 hours, somewhere in there. Good night, guys.